45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1986. He left her off the ballot. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, congratulations to Perloff's Philadelphia Eagles, the best record in the NFL. They outlasted my Buffalo Bills yesterday. The Bills outplayed them, yet somehow lost this football game, and now are probably out of the playoffs totally. But congratulations to you, Perloff.
Yeah, that was a cute little effort by your Buffalo Bills. Way to show up.
Good job, good effort.
I mean, the Eagles sort of load managed that game too, NBA style. Lane Johnson was warming up before the game. He's like, nah, I don't really need to play in this one. Then Jalen Hurts was in a coma for the first half of the game. Then that was a win.
They basically won the MVP in the second half of the game.
No way. That was one of the least convincing Eagles wins I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, I think the Bills lost.
They did lose. They did, but it doesn't matter for the Eagles because style points don't matter when it comes to games like this. Because this is the time in the schedule where it's going to get a little tougher for your Eagles, where it definitely was it's a murderer's row here for my Bills, but it's not going to matter. And the Bills lost the game. And we can give credit to the Eagles, and I will, and we'll talk about our show bet coming up in a little bit. But the Bills lost the game, and they lost the season by extension. And this was a team that went into the year, Perloff, with Super Bowl aspirations, with, yes, devastating injuries on the defensive side, which showed themselves early in the season. But they squandered games against Denver, against New England, and left no margin for error. So now when you are playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who are this amazing second half team, who did come back against the Chiefs last week, now came back against the Bills this week, you're sunk. And changes are going to be coming here. Even more changes, I think, this offseason. They already changed offensive coordinators, and I think more changes are coming. I think the head coach is going to be fired.
Okay, well, one thing, though, what is any coach supposed to do when your one play is Josh Allen either run around and make a 40-yard cannon throw or run the ball? They have one play. That's why they can't hold a lead. They don't have a single running back that can do anything.
Well, or they keep benching James Cook every time he makes one mistake like they did in the first half yet again. I don't know why they need to send a message to the running back and keep benching him in these games so they don't do that to anyone else who makes a mistake.
Well, I would just say about firing Sean McDermott, no coach is going to coach this team up to elite level right now. They're thin.
Yeah,
I watched it last night. This is not a Super Bowl roster, is it? So how can you blame McDermott if you don't have a Super Bowl roster?
I blame McDermott because when you have a team like Philadelphia on the ropes in the second half, and your defense was good in the first half, but again, the Eagles tend to start slow or something's going on with Philadelphia. You can tell me more about that. And then the second half, out of 5 of the 6 drives that they have become scoring drives in the second half.
Well, one was an interception, though, because you're just throwing the ball everywhere. Of course, it's a pouring rain last night. Why don't you run the ball and try to hold on to the lead?
Well, credit to Philadelphia's defense. There were times when the run was awesome and the Bills could run, and I think at one point did run the ball on 6 or 7 straight plays.
Right. But that's after they blew the lead. They should have been doing that all night long.
Yeah, but at times they were running straight into the line and they also weren't getting much. Or they would be, a drop on first down. Now you're 2nd and 10. Try to do something and it's 3rd and 10. And to Josh Allen's credit, he converted 13 of 19 third down tries. I mean, him alone. And most of them were 3rd and 6 plus. I mean, to me, this was the best Josh Allen game we've seen so far,
Yeah.
maybe outside of, I guess, Miami earlier in the season. But even when you look at the rest of the AFC, do you really believe in the Cleveland Browns? Like, they look very shaky.
They're going to lose out.
Do you believe in the Colts? Do you believe in
Maybe.
Denver? Do you believe
No.
in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Like, there's all these. Okay. Well, there's all these teams that are above them. It doesn't matter. Their schedule is so hard, and they're not playing well enough that they can't close out these games, and they can't keep putting it on their defense to close out these games. How about this stat for you? When the Bills are winning by one score in the fourth quarter or overtime, their defense goes to 31st in the league in EPA and third down conversions, only second worst to the Chargers. Like, they crater because the defense is either so hurt or bad decisions in terms of defensive play calling. So there you go. That's my roundabout way of saying that the Bills season is over. So good morning to the Weedos and the coffee drinkers and everyone. You're watching a grown woman depressed that her football team is out of it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of over even if they had won, right?
Well, thank you very much.
Because their schedule is insane. But I'm curious about this Sean McDermott firing.
Yeah.
What next year, who do they bring in, and are they even going to be a winning team next year? I mean, they're just getting older on defense, and they're getting more one-dimensional on offense. I'm not sure what's the turnaround here.
Well, I doubt that the general manager will get fired. So what happened and how they got old was, first of all, injuries. But secondly, you had these like mercenary guys who are coming, like the Von Miller, who is going to come and be like the finisher on this football team. And then that didn't end up happening, and he got hurt, and now he's still working himself into shape. Leonard Floyd is older, but he's been fantastic. But you had to sign guys like Linval Joseph and dudes like that. You had to sign bring back Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Guys have been around since before McDermott was there.
Yeah. Eagles signed Linval Joseph last year. That seems like a common thread. But
they were desperate. And you trade for Rasul Douglas, who's not old, but you end up trading for him.
I think he's pretty old. He's been around a long time now. Micah Hyde is definitely old, right?
Yeah.
Poyer's on the way out.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs is not going to be back next year, is he?
I don't know. He's still under contract, but I'm not sure. And quite frankly, I'm not sure. Like, I think Diggs is still great. He is awesome, but you can't make somebody be there if they don't want to be. Now, I don't want to go on just his reputation. Like, go on what he says. Does he want to be there? Does he not want to be there? I have no idea.
Sounds like a rebuild happening, Mag.
Well, they still have some good bones, though, because you do have the quarterback. You do have the left tackle. So you still have like some, and you do have great pass rushers. Year after year, they took pass rushers and defensive linemen in the first rounds with their first round picks. So Ed Oliver and AJ Epinesa wasn't even a first rounder. And these guys are good.
I don't think so.
You don't think they're good?
No, I honestly think those first round picks have not translated. Why are you going out and signing a Von Miller then, if these guys are so good?
It was supposed to be the finisher. I mean,
Oliver's
you got to
good.
go back into a time machine here. This is coming off the 13 seconds game, and they thought, we're right here. We're going to win a Super Bowl. Let's get Von Miller and close the deal.
Yeah, I think this is a case, it reminds me a little bit of college football.
What's that?
The sense that Buffalo Bills fans, and I don't even know if it's Buffalo Bills fans, it might be national fans, looked at this like a Super Bowl team because you have Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ohio State looks at itself like a national championship team. But if you look at the reality of where the team is, this was not a Super Bowl team. And you tried to tell me that, and I ignored you.
Yeah.
Now I've woken up and smelled the coffee.
Thank you. It only took them falling to 500 and losing to your team.
Yeah, this is to me. It's not the coach. I think it's the coach and the roster as well. I'm not surprised that they're a 500 team. They look like a 500 team on paper.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't. That's a lot because of the injuries on the defensive side. But you can't rebuild right now because Josh Allen is right there in his prime. You're never going to get rid of Josh Allen. You should not get rid of Josh Allen. He's the best.
Hard. Yeah, right.
He's the best thing they have.
Of course.
By far. So they'll go through 100 head coaches and 1,000 offensive coordinators before anybody turns on Allen. As far as like how do you turn this around quickly, I think the head coach would be a big part of it. The defensive-minded head coach, and he's bad at end-of-game decisions. I mean, they're not organized at the end of games, and this goes back to the 13 seconds game. So I think that McDermott goes. His record is gaudy, because they've been a good football team, but they need a new voice. Now, do you want me to know who?
Yeah, who do you like?
Do you want to know who I think?
I'm assuming it's Jim Harbaugh.
It's Jim Harbaugh. I think they're going to bring Jim Harbaugh in. I do. And not because
I thought I was joking. You're going to bring Jim Harbaugh in to bring stability to this team?
I think they might. Now, I'm not saying they should. And in fact, I would not be in favor of this, except the one thing is Jim Harbaugh seems to have success like right when he gets to a team. So, like, could he make an impact immediately? But I think that's what they're going to do because the Bills can be predictable in these kinds of situations.
Did Jim Harbaugh take a long time to get Michigan good? What do you mean?
No, but in the NFL.
Okay. Well, how many teams has he coached for?
Well, the San Francisco 49ers and got them to the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. I mean, I think that I could see this. I could see Buffalo doing
this. Now we're talking. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I figured you were going to say Ben Johnson, the Lions a young offensive coordinator who modernized the way the offense looks. But the offense obviously isn't the problem. It feels like much deeper problems here.
There are much deeper problems. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. It might come as a surprise to a lot of people if McDermott gets fired. It would not come as a surprise to diehard Bills fans. So the question, Buffalo Bills, are they sunk? EJ, I know you're secretly happy about this. Don't front like you are not secretly happy about this. Well, and Pete, I would say you are also secretly happy about this.
To me, I don't think of the Bills, of all the Jets rivals, the Bills are the one that are like lowest on the totem pole for me. So like their struggles is like, it's sweet, but it's like, whatever. You know, we have problems. We have enough problems of our own.
Yeah,
well,
we knew this was coming. Much like the Jets' failures, we knew this was coming as well. So it is not exactly a surprise.
So in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can watch the show. Also, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, where Titan fan is telling me to stop because McDermott is not getting fired, saying I'm knee-jerk, I'm hot-taking, he's a good coach, just having a bad year with mediocre talent. I would ask you this, though. Anytime you have Josh Allen, I know they lost a lot of pieces on defense, but anytime you have Josh Allen and you have this game on the road and you've lost this game every time, when was the last time the Bills won a big game? I'll wait. Because you can't count Miami Dolphins last year in the playoffs when they had Skylar Thompson as their quarterback and the Bills almost lost that game. So, to me, these are the moments. This is what you're talking about when you're talking about elite teams are supposed to be elite. They have to win this type of game when they had Philadelphia on the road.
Right. Elite teams are supposed to be elite.
Exactly. Thank you, Perloff.
There's no way this is an elite team. Also, too, the other what is their offense? It's Josh Allen running left, Josh Allen running right. I mean, the dude's huge, but can he do this for the rest of time?
I actually like when they do stuff like this, like what they did yesterday. This is how the Bills' offense can run and move, is with Josh Allen converting on third down. But it's a weapon. They use it, yes.
I feel like that's ignoring the reality of the NFL. With all these mobile quarterbacks, you cannot stay healthy for 21 games when your quarterback runs 15 times a game. Now, the Eagles guy kind of got lucky last year because Hurts came back. He missed the last, he missed a 3-game stretch at the end, came back. It's just mobile quarterbacks. You think Josh Allen can survive this just because he's so big?
Well, I mean, knock on wood, he's survived it so far. 855-212-4CBS. So meanwhile, Jalen Hurts, speaking of him, playing with the knee brace on, definitely not the runner that we've seen, but in the second halves, he is finding a way. And the Eagles, all of a sudden, A.J. Brown kind of came alive a little bit. All of a sudden, Devontae Smith gets some big catches. And here we are again with the Eagles at 10-1, and Perloff is not satisfied.
Not sad. I mean, yesterday was irrelevant. Now the real test comes. San Francisco and Dallas. They lose this game to San Francisco, which they're underdogs at home, and they're so big. Why do you have to go overtime, too? Honestly, I would have rather they just lost the regulation, because now Jalen Carter's banged up. Zach Cunningham is out. Lane Johnson's hurt. I haven't even looked at the injury report. So they're coming in all beat up for beating your Buffalo Bills. What did you do this to us for? They're going to have a hard time against the physicality of the Niners. So if they lose this game to the Niners, all of a sudden they have 2 losses, the Niners have 3. What do you think is going to happen here? I mean, the Niners have this conference in the palm of their hand right now. It feels like that way to me. Now, I don't understand how the Eagles won yesterday. Maybe they'll pull off another miracle next week against the Niners, but they can't. They're doing this with smoke and mirrors. I mean, I think we all realize that.
Well, it's taken these second half comebacks. I don't know if that's necessarily smoke and mirrors. I mean, I think
they're getting outgained so consistently, though.
Yeah, but what are they doing? It's like almost going back to the Super Bowl from last year, right? It's like the same type of thing. Jalen Hurts yesterday has a bad first half and might get outgained. He ends up with 5 touchdowns yesterday and maybe an MVP moment scoring in overtime.
Yeah, you guys say, we were talking about this yesterday, MVP moment. Do you think that the voters, if they lose to San Francisco and lose to Dallas, those are the last 2 games the voters are going to see? And they're going to be underdogs in both games. So I don't think mid-season, that can't be an MVP moment because he didn't really even have a great game. I think the big tests are coming up these next 2 games. Nothing against your Bills. It's an out-of-conference game. I think the Eagles actually came in and said, you know what, we can afford to lose this because we have to be really tight for San Francisco and Dallas, and they don't look tight to me. They look like they're a bit of a mess. Honestly, the offense is so clunky and so slow and it takes forever to wake up. Why don't they do that all game, Maggie? I was yelling at my screen last night. Whatever you're doing in the second half, do that in the first half. It's not going to work against divisional opponents and against conference opponents. So, yeah, I'm a little panicked about the Eagles. I'm actually taking a page from your book. When the Bills win, you're like, oh, that's bad. But I do think, I was in Philly this weekend, and everyone's calling for the offensive coordinator's job. They hate this guy. And they're the best record in the NFL, which says something about Philly. But it also says something about the way the Eagles are playing. This does not feel sustainable. I mean, come on. They needed a 59-yard field goal in the driving rain last night. What was your reaction to that kick?
It was more like a 60-yarder, actually.
Yeah. What was your reaction? I screamed out loud when that kick out. Did you? I know how cynical you are. You probably thought it was going in.
I did because I believe in sports karma.
Right.
So
okay.
The Bills had already used up their sports karma when they were the beneficiary, or so you would think, of the Denver Broncos missing a field goal at the end of the game, but the Bills had 12 men on the field. So they got to re-kick the field goal, and Broncos end up winning the game. So you don't get 2 of those in a season. You're not going to get that lucky where your opponent's just going to miss.
I thought you were talking about sports karma because Josh Allen flopped on the drive before.
Everybody flops. And he was up around the neck.
That was a pretty big flop. That was a little sports karma.
Okay, let's talk about the calls in the game. Now you're going to get the real Maggie here. Yeah. Let's talk about the calls in the game. Bills were playing the Eagles and the refs yesterday.
Oh, get out of here.
11 penalties to 4? That's insanity. That was stupid. And the crazy big calls, that was just like maybe a makeup call. I don't know. But
whatever. The key play in the game,
missed.
They called an imaginary false start on Jason Kelce. The second false start, what did he blink and they called that?
How about the pass interference blatant on Stephon Diggs, the first play of overtime that they didn't call?
Oh, the horse collar.
Horse collar. Thank you, EJ.
I'll give you the horse collar.
That they called intentional grounding. So you don't even get the horse collar, but Josh Allen gets penalized. 15 yards loss of down, whatever it was. Intentional grounding.
Well, Josh Allen's, I mean, come on. I think the officials, we all agree, Josh Allen's hard to bring down. So you give the defenders a break.
So what is he, Shaq? All of a sudden now you have no idea how to...
No, honestly, it's the old Cam Newton thing. If big quarterbacks just do not get the calls that the little guys get. Like, if you brought down Bryce Young like that, you get suspended for a game. But how else are you going to tackle Josh Allen? Give me a break here, Maggie.
Yeah, I know. Now, how about the announcers yesterday? Was it Romo mostly? It's like, this is Josh Allen, Ben Roethlisberger. It's like... It's Cam Newton. That's the best comp. It's never Roethlisberger. It's always been Cam Newton. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Well, pour one out for my Bills. Is Jim Harbaugh the answer? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. The shocking turn from yesterday. We'll get to that. Also, let's be honest, this was an unbelievable college football weekend break, whatever you want to call it. College football right now, Perloff, is like blowing the NFL out of the water, in my opinion.
I 1,000% disagree.
College football right now is on one. It has been incredible. The rivalry games did not disappoint. Everything about it has been fun.
First of all, I always argue with this. My former coworker, Paul Papps at Dan Patrick Show, is always saying college is better than the NFL. The two of them work completely hand in hand. There's no adversaries. They're complete friends. And the more people watch college football, the more people. But regardless, you saw how sloppy college football is. I mean, Auburn alone, it's a JV product.
No, it's forgivable when it's college. When it's the pros, it's not forgivable. When it's college, it's exciting. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So much to do. Glad to have you. Again, want to watch the show? Come on in. Say hi to the Weedos and coffee drinkers. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, We're back in a minute with more. Again, the moment from yesterday that may have changed everything in the NFL. We'll get to it. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Hey, do you guys remember the summer? Everyone remember the summer?
Yeah.
Remember when the AFC was supposed to be so much better than the NFC? What a bunch of garbage in the second half of the playoff picture of the AFC. We are looking at 500 all over the conference. I'm sorry, that storyline was overblown. So you're going to get a non-deserving AFC team in the playoffs, Maggie. And who do you think this non-deserving AFC playoff team will be?
I don't know if it's non-deserving, but I think you might be getting 3 teams from the AFC South in the playoffs, which is something we would have never thought. The Colts continue to win. They're at 6-5. If the season ended today, they would be the 7th wildcard team, so they're hanging on.
Okay.
You got the Texans, who are also 6-5. They're 8th right now, but the Texans are one of the good stories of the NFL this year. And, of course, you got Jacksonville, who's sitting there at 8-3. They're going to win that division. I think it's possible 3 AFC South teams are getting in because you're going to get 1 from the AFC East now. It's just going to be Miami. You're going to get maybe just 1 from the AFC North, depending on what happens here with the Steelers. They looked better, Perloff. The offense looked better with Matt Canada gone and Mike Sullivan in as the offensive coordinator or co-offensive coordinators. They gained over 400 yards for the first time in 58 games, which is unreal. That sounds fake. But can the Steelers hang on? So you might just get the Ravens in. Cleveland looks like they could be going on it's sinking like a stone. And then you might get 2 AFC West teams in if you have the Chiefs, who win again yesterday over the Raiders. And now the Denver Broncos are the hottest team in the NFL. They've won 5 in a row.
What win did you look at them? Maybe the Chiefs game against a sick Patrick Mahomes. They have beaten the bottom feeders of the league.
Who cares? They keep winning.
I'll do any show bet you want. Anything that the Steelers beat out one of those AFCs. There's no way the Steelers are going to fall below the Colts and the Texans. It's not happening. My Super Bowl pick is alive and well, Maggie.
You think 16 points is alive and well yesterday?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? That was the greatest show on turf, Steelers, yesterday with the no Matt Canada. Mike Sullivan is my new hero. I think the Steelers are now not only are they going to make the playoffs, they are a slightly dangerous team to somehow win a wild card game. That's all I'm going to give you.
Okay,
but I don't think there's any way that the Texans are going to have to play the Colts. So that's 1 loss for one of those teams. The Steelers have a ridiculously easy schedule moving forward. There's no way the Steelers don't need any offense to win a game, and they're getting a little bit now. I think they're greatly improved.
I don't know. I mean, yes, the Steelers have proven that they can win this way somehow. Arizona, New England, Indy, Cincy, at Seattle, at Baltimore. I mean, at some point, maybe not against Arizona, New England, but at some point, you're going to have to score a little bit, aren't you?
I mean, this is because of the injuries with Cincinnati and Cleveland, things have really opened up for Pittsburgh. Whereas I would argue the AFC South is getting more competitive. It's going to be harder to win those games that would have looked like easy games. So, and also the Texans are a great story. I agree with you, but they are not a complete team by any means. They're still young all over the field. They made young team mistakes to lose to the Jaguars. And the Colts, I don't even know what they're doing here. The Colts
keep winning. I mean, beating teams like the Tampa Bay Bucks at home.
Yeah, the AFC South drew the NFC South, which is helping them a lot. But I think 6-5 is going to be hard. The Steelers are 7-4 now, probably going to improve to 8-4 or 9-4. It's going to be too hard to knock them off.
I mean, kudos to the AFC South. Yes, you saw a little with the Texans yesterday. Big game, big division game, and you saw the youth come through a little bit. I thought not just with C.J. Stroud, but also with the coaching staff. I mean, in big moments and on that final drive, C.J. Stroud taking sacks. Some of the play calling was bad. Some of the decision-making was just bad. Pete, can we hear from Trevor Lawrence, please? It cut 5. He was asked if he likes having this rivalry with C.J. Stroud now in the division.
I want the teams in our division to be as bad as possible. So, no, I'm not. That's how I see it. And the way they're playing, it's exciting. Yes, there's going to be I'm sure some great matchups down the road, and CJ's playing he's playing lights out. He's doing a great job. I mean, to be a rookie and to play how he is, I got a lot of respect for him. I know that. I know how hard it is. I've been in that position. So he's doing a great job, and it's going to be fun for years to come, hopefully. So, but no, I mean, I wouldn't prefer that. I'd prefer if, the guys in our division didn't have good quarterbacks. It'd be better for us.
There you go. I love the candor. Who cares about a rivalry? I'd rather be like playing a patsy every single week. 855-212-4CBS. Andrew Bogish is here with some headlines for us, and there are a lot. Good morning, Bogues.
Good morning, everybody. Those headlines sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance, insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. The Chargers found another way to lose last night.
3rd and 13. Herbert to throw. Pocket collapsing. He's hit. Ball comes loose. Jadeveon Clowney stripped the ball away. A pile-up in the 22-yard line. And the Ravens have recovered.
That's Jerry Sandusky on Ravens radio. Justin Herbert fumbling there. The Charger QB also picked off. His team gave the ball away 4 times total after only 8 through their first 10 games. The Bolts now 4-7, last in the AFC West after a 20-10 loss to the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Head coach Brandon Staley's seat that much hotter.
That was certainly the difference in the game, and it usually is in the NFL. And when you turn the ball over 3 times and don't get any, your chances of winning aren't very good. And especially when you're playing a team like Baltimore.
The Ravens are 9-3 now, 1 game clear of the rest of the AFC. Rookie receiver Zay Flowers caught a touchdown and ran for another in this game. Those Jaguars have a 2-game lead on the Texans and the Colts in the AFC South. After that 24-21 win in Houston, Texans kicker Matt Amendola hitting the crossbar from 58 with 34 seconds to play. Indy, meanwhile, got a 27-20 win over the Bucs, with Jonathan Taylor running for a pair of scores. And the Falcons down the Saints 24-15 with Bijan Robinson scoring through the air and on the ground. Atlanta and New Orleans share the NFC South lead at 5-6. Now,
yes, 5-6. Please tell me again how good the NFC is. This is the division leaders at 5-6. I get it. You got Philly, you got San Francisco, you've got the Dallas Cowboys at the top. But don't tell me the AFC has just been decimated by injuries to quarterbacks. It's made this it's going to make this not as fun. But 5-6, the Falcons are just choosing between Ritter and Heineke at this point. It's not because the guy's hurt.
Yeah, and if you're a Saints fan, that was a tough watch. Yeah, the NFC South is
Dennis
terrible.
Allen was trending yesterday on Twitter.
NFC South is terrible, but the AFC South has been bad for the last decade, and people still love the AFC. I think you're going to take the worst conference division out of each conferences, then I think the NFC is just as good as the AFC this year. The top of the NFC is shockingly better than the top of the AFC.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Lions had a big loss on Thanksgiving. Feels like a long time ago now. You got the Vikings playing with a backup quarterback. Bears are still bad. So the NFC North really isn't giving me much.
Who's the Super Bowl favorite right now? Look at the odds.
Oh, I'm sure it's probably
it's SF
Eagles, San Francisco.
And San Francisco's 1 and the Eagles are 2.
And then after that, who is it, though?
Chiefs.
And then who else?
Then Cowboys, I think.
And then the Dolphins. And then the Ravens.
Dolphins. Maybe the Ravens.
So I'm saying, if you get to
Jets,
4 of the top 6 are AFC teams, or 3 of the 4 of the top 7.
Listen, according to Vegas right now, we have 49ers, Eagles, then Chiefs, Dolphins, Ravens, then you get the Cowboys.
What are you sure they're not tied?
No. Well, no. The Eagles and Chiefs right now, Eagles and 49ers are tied at 450.
Okay.
Then you got Chiefs at 475. Then you got Dolphins at plus 1,000. Then you have Ravens. Well, actually, I think this is wrong. The Ravens should be at plus 600. Then you had the Dolphins at plus 1,000.
What did we learn?
Tied with the Cowboys.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway. In the late window yesterday, I missed this live, so I'm going to live this with you guys right now. There was drama in the Red Zone studio, not just on the Red Zone channel yesterday.
Scott Hansen back with you in the NFL Red Zone studios. The alarm continues to go off here in our facility in Inglewood. I am told it is safe for me to be in my position right now to tell you that the final score is on the board there.
Whatever. It was safe, so Scott kept working.
And we come back into the studio right now. I am reminded of an old Chinese proverb which says, "May you live to see interesting times." I've never had this happen before. I'm pretty sure all of our professionals haven't either. But we soldier on with the top 5 plays of the day on NFL Red Zone.
Did they make it? I wasn't watching. I was watching exclusively Eagles-Bills.
Well,
Are they okay?
They just switched the Eagles-Bills, and that was what they should have done anyway. It worked out beautifully for Scott Hansen.
It's funny. So because his late window had 4 games, I had the 3 box up on YouTube, and then I was watching the Eagles and Bills on the other TV, so I didn't have Red Zone up.
Right.
But it's not just the alarm. It's also the pre-recorded message, like, please get out of the building. That's got to be very unnerving. Like, how much do we need these football scores?
And
Clearly a lot.
Didn't we just have this conversation about fire drills here? Like who's supposed to leave and who would survive and who would leave behind?
I don't think that we never hear it in the studio. They just don't tell us.
Right, but there are
until
emails
it's
like
too
there's a
late.
mandatory fire drill at 2 p.m. on Wednesday and never says like, but if you're hosting on the network, you should stay where you are.
Fair?
I told you guys a couple of weeks ago that I was at New York Station news station, and we had a real fire. And because the fire alarm would always go off and it'd be nothing, there was confusion about whether or not you should actually leave the building until we saw flames coming out of the window.
And thankfully, everyone is okay.
Yes, I made it here, so clearly I'd survived.
We can laugh about it now.
I'm also jealous that automated voice is clear because either we have a bad audio system or we hire people who shouldn't be talking important things into microphones. Because when we've had announcements in the building here, you don't know what the guy is saying.
Yeah.
It could be everything is fine, or it could be call your wives and say goodbye, but you can't understand
You can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's the chopped and screwed version of the fire alarm announcement.
Let me balance out that Eagles win by telling Perloff that Victor Wembanyama had 22 points, 11 boards, 6 steals, and 4 blocks. Apparently, no rookie has ever had that combination of those 4 stats before. But his Spurs have now lost an even dozen in a row, 132-120 in Denver last night.
Loser.
Jason Tatum had 34 in the Celtics' 113-103 decision over the Hawks. And the Nets hit an NBA season-high 25 threes to beat the Bulls in Brooklyn 118-109. Caitlin Clark scored 32, 5th-ranked Iowa down number 16 K-State, 77-70 to win the Gulf Coast Showcase in Florida. Texas A&M football reportedly hiring Duke's Mike Elko as its new head coach. Oklahoma OC Jeff Lebby getting the gig at Mississippi State. Indiana fires Tom Allen. And let's do some MLS conference semifinals. LAFC topped Seattle. Houston Dynamo fought off Sporting KC, both by 1-0 scores. They'll decide the Western Conference next Saturday night in L.A. Guys, back to you.
I got bad news for all of you.
Uh-oh.
There's no way I'm driving to San Antonio. Wemby is not great, and the Spurs are awful.
We knew the Spurs were going to be
Honestly,
bad.
I would watch out for Chet Holmgren because at a certain point, the Spurs have to shut this down. What's their record now?
Shut this down.
They are so awful.
It's not even December.
Yeah.
It's the NBA. Nobody plays anybody. Why are they going to play? Why are they going to risk Wemby's future and play? They're not going to play him 65 games. At a certain point, they got to be like, this is stupid. We're just getting blown out every game. They are so bad at basketball, and he just floats around the perimeter. He is not the superstar that it's been promised yet.
What?
I know he's 18. He's just not that good. I watched him the other day.
He just had literally 22, 11, 6, and 4.
What was the score?
Like 12 hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, but the team is so non-threatening. Nobody's scared of him. He just sort of floats around the perimeter.
Rookie of the year, like that, the team record doesn't always matter for rookie of the year.
I'm just saying, I feel really good about where Chet Holmgren is, and I feel like the Spurs are just like, what? At a certain point, they're going to be the worst team in the league. They're got to sit Wemby, no? I mean, you know how the NBA, you know how Pop
No, they're
works.
going to get fined for it now. You're going to get in trouble. You can't just load manage like that.
Pop just
or
got
whatever.
booed out of the building
Yeah.
for sticking up for Kawhi Leonard. You really think that if Wemby has a chance to win Rookie of the Year, he's going to survive that in San Antonio? Absolutely not.
It's San Antonio.
They
They're going
just
to fire
booed him out
Greg
of the building
Popovich?
for Kawhi. For a guy who played there years ago. Now this is their promised land guy, and this is their chosen one, and they're going to let him lose the Rookie of the Year because they want to tank?
Protect him. They want to protect him, and I think they should because they're the worst team in the league. There's not even...
No, they are bad, but when are they going to start winning some games? Honestly, I thought where you were going with this was about the Indiana football head coaching jobs. I thought what Perloff was going to pick
Why
out
does he
of it.
want it?
And Wemby's going to also be coaching in the Hoosiers. No, did you guys see Mike Florio with the surprise? Was he the one who reported it, or did they just aggregate it on their site? the surprise candidate.
I think this was Feldman.
Bruce Feldman. This would make a little bit more sense. Bruce Feldman with the surprise candidate for Indiana, the wild card.
I didn't see this. You're breaking news to me right now.
John Gruden.
Yep.
Oh.
Love Bruce Feldman, but he's been saying a lot of things. We'll see.
I don't know if I want John Gruden around kids.
I mean, this is always the funny part to me is like you get fired unceremoniously, or technically he might have resigned from the Raiders because of the stuff that came out in the emails, right? So it's like, you know where this guy would be great? College kids. Like they don't care about character or anything like that. He's done in the NFL, but you know what? College could probably hire him.
And he's not from Indiana, right? Like that's just because they want to hire somebody
Ohio,
with a name,
right? Probably.
Like he didn't go there.
Yeah.
He has no connection to Indiana.
None.
It's not even like his alma mater coming to the rescue.
He's kind of a Midwestern guy. You could say that.
But he's not a Hoosier. He has no direct connection to that school.
No,
they just want to hire somebody with a big name.
He just he wants to get back in.
So just put his name down there for anything.
And they're willing to say.
He did play high school football in South Bend, Indiana. So that would probably be the connection. That was where he went to high school, apparently.
So the thing about the college football, the ethical bar for coaches is,
non-existent.
So
it's on the floor.
I know, that's the irony of this.
John Gruden, welcome to the party. Listen, we saw Hugh Freeze blow a game on Saturday.
I know.
Petrino, it just doesnn't even matter.
Gruden might be a good guy. He might be like the patron saint of coaches now.
Just don't check his inbox. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. Bogusch, thank you so much. Speaking of college, a lot to get to from what was a wild weekend. Going to have some changes here at the top of the college football playoff rankings. We'll tell you about it. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or in the Odyssey app. Get in the zone. AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff show. Man, this feels good to come in after a win.
I'm sure it does.
My green sweater. We haven't gotten into it yet. Do you want to, at a certain point, broach a wager that was made?
Well, yeah. We did our show bet because I'm a Bills fan and you're an Eagles fan.
Right.
This is rare. They don't get to play each other very often, so this is special. And we decided that the bet would be thus, which is if your Eagles won, I would have to wear the Kelly green. I'd have to sing Fly, Eagles, Fly. I think you wanted me to
reenact the entire scene from Rocky 2 where Adrian's in the bed and she tells Rocky to just win. And Mickey goes, "What are we waiting for?"
Yeah. And somehow I was going to do every role of that.
Yeah.
Because
I'll do the
Burgess
Mickey line.
Meredith was a role I was born to play. Of course, he and I have so much in common.
Wait, I could be Rocky and you could be Adrian? That's a little weird, though.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to have to do every character. Anyway, I was going to throw batteries at Santa, the whole thing. I was just going to be whatever.
Who was going to be Santa in that situation? It wasn't going to be me.
It was going to be a moving target in the newsroom. I eat as many cheesesteaks as Andy Reid and Buddy Ryan combined. Whatever you want me to do, Philadelphia Eagles was. If I had won, the Bills had won, rather, not me, but if they had won, you would have to wear my Bills gear. So my Zubaz, my Bills stuff. You got to sing the Shout song.
Okay.
You've got to profess your undying love to Eric Moulds. You've got to do all the things.
I did love Eric Moulds.
You've got to do all the Bills stuff. Maybe fall through a table, light yourself on fire, eat ketchup and mustard at the same time. But what happened? They played each other in a thrilling game yesterday. I'm sure 30 million people watched this game. Yeah. Goes to overtime, and the Eagles won by 3. The spread on the game was Eagles -3. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we call a push in the industry. I'm not wearing Jack. You don't have to do it either. It's a push as a bet. That's it. It's over.
What are you talking
disappointing
about?
ending.
So when
mayors
bet, when two mayors of opposing cities bet in the Super Bowl, they don't include the spread. You're saying you had so little faith in your home team that you wanted the points?
You have the best record. Your team has the best record in the NFL, and my team just fired their offensive coordinator. Hell yeah, I want the points, and the Bills were on the road. Of course you get the points. Guys, we bet against the spread. It's always been that way, and this was a push. And I'm not wearing Kelly Green nada. I ain't wearing nothing.
That's funny. I thought you were a Bills fan. I guess I guess you're more of a Vegas expert because the -3. What are you talking about? This was the Bills versus the Eagles. Win or lose.
No, we said with
I thought
the
you were
spread.
kidding when you said with the spread.
We said with the spread. Of course the Bills needed a spread here. Philadelphia is the best team, one of the best teams in the NFL, and the Bills are having a terrible season and are not going to make the playoffs now. This is that of I need the points.
No.
That is so weak. Okay, to the point. Honestly, I'm dying to wear Zubaz pants. It's like wearing pajamas to work. So why do we?
Very comfortable.
Why is it an option? We put it up to the audience. Maybe both of us wear the gear. Why do you not want to do the Rocky stuff? Why do you not want to sing "Fly Eagles Fly"?
Because that song sucks. Bradley Cooper can shove it. He's only been good in 2 movies, and one of them he wasn't even the lead. He was
Bradley Cooper.
He was good in Wedding Crashers and he was good in Hangover. And that's it. Everything else is sucks. Silver
You
Linings
are out of your
Playbook sucked.
mind.
The other one he did sucked. They all suck.
American Sniper, amazing.
I didn't see that one. I didn't even watch that.
Amazing. Great
He's not
voice
even
acting.
on screen. He's just a voice.
Voice acting is amazing. What are you talking about?
That's for voice actors.
What's it? He's great in about 10 other movies. What are you missing? Silver Lining Playbooks. What's the one that he got
American
the most?
Hustle? Boo.
What's the one where he killed himself at the end? I hate to ruin it.
Yeah, that
with Lady
was,
Gaga.
Star is Born. He was very good in that.
Yeah, he's a very good actor.
They remade that movie like 4 times. It always ends the same way. No. Get Bradley Cooper off my screen. You hack. I'm not wearing any of this.
Who do the
crap.
Bills have in their crowd?
Summer Sanders, Olympian.
Is she there in the owner's box with the Pagulas?
No, because she lives in Utah or somewhere else cool. No. That's what we don't need celebrity fans because we're a real fan base, just real fans, just blue collar, lunch pail people. We don't need Bradley Cooper and our guy Ryan Phillippe, who I appreciate coming on our show and actually really enjoyed his company.
Yeah. And you're right. Those Eagles fans are not blue collar. Get out of here. There's blue collars anywhere. Did you see the video of the 8-year-old boy going up to the Bills fan?
Yeah, nice parenting there, Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's
people.
called Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The little boy goes up to a Bills fan to get, hey, give me a high five.
And then
Eagles
gives him the finger.
Yeah, of course.
Isn't your quarterback dating a Hollywood superstar?
Yeah, and she's teaching him how to flop. So thank God he's actually using this relationship to his benefit.
Right, it's all about blue collar. Give me a break.
But you never see her.
Hollywood Allen.
You never see her. You never see Haley Steinfeld. She's
I
a
saw
rumor.
Haley Steinfeld and Allen all over the place because in New York City, they couldn't stop hanging out here
That was
all
the
summer,
off-season.
all off season.
That was the offseason. You don't see her now. It's not like Taylor Swift. She's not up there doing a, choreographed dance with Stephon Diggs' wife or whatever. I'm enough with the Eagles. Enough. And so, no, I'm not wearing the Kelly Green, and I'm not wearing any of your stuff.
We would see each other more often as teams if the Bills could actually perform in the postseason.
Yeah, because you're getting to the Super Bowl every year.
I know. Thank you.
You got there twice in the last 1,000,000 years.
And how many times the Bills got there in the last 1,000,000 years?
I think it's better to go 4 times in a row and lose. What do you have? You have 1 win. Good for you. Well, a lot of teams have 1 win. Good for you.
Jets have 1 win.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
In the
though.
black and white TV era.
There was color when Joe Namath was throwing up that number 1 walking off the Orange
Barely.
Bowl, even though the Orange Bowl doesn't exist.
Let's put it up to a poll, EJ, because obviously the audience is going to want Maggie to wear the Eagles green, and I'm happy to wear it. Since it was a push, I'm happy to wear Bills stuff. I mean, I have no problem. Bills are not an enemy of mine in any way. They're an AFC team. I've always kind of rooted for them. They're a lovable little loser. Why not wear Bills gear?
It's patronizing. This is why I don't want to wear this Eagles stuff.
What would it be nice to wear a winning green? And also the Kelly green is gorgeous. And the rain, the way the Kelly green popped in the rain, it was a work of art.
All these things are just so, it sucks. You're obsessed with the color of a uniform. Who cares? Nobody outside of Philadelphia cares, especially me.
Definitely not true. I mean, the Eagles, I think, are one of the most interesting teams in the league. I think you're going to love the attention you get. When you walk around in that Kelly green, people look at you differently.
Yeah, they boo me.
Yeah,
they spit
do.
on me. Fantastic. Also, what do I get? Another Jason Kelsey documentary? Thanks. The most boring dude on the face of the earth gets another documentary?
That I also don't agree with. With Jason Kelsey, he is many things. He is not a boring person.
What's so interesting about him? He's really good. A lot of guys are really good.
He's an oddball.
Why? Because he wore the mummers costume for the parade?
Did you hear his engagement story? Basically,
Oh, yeah, that he pretended that he had to go number 2?
Yeah, and his wife knew something was up as he came back before 20 minutes.
Okay, congrats. He married a cool chick. You don't get awards for
you
that.
are desperately reaching. If you're saying Jason Kelsey's not interesting, then you know you're in trouble.
And he's not.
He has the top podcast in the country for some reason I don't even understand,
Exactly.
even before Taylor Swift came along.
You don't think that has anything to do with Travis?
Honestly, Jason is way more interesting than Travis. And Travis is dating Taylor Swift.
Cousin Eddie's in the chat says, Bradley Cooper says, leave me out of this. No, Cooper's catching strays too. Get a life. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. I'm not wearing it. You can't make me. It's called a push. Coming up, should Ryan Day be on the hot seat after another loss to Michigan? We get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Maggie and Perloff here on CBS Sports Radio. Well, it kind of feels like it's a further away now, but it was an incredible rivalry weekend in college football. Perloff, and we had the Iron Bowl, which was spectacular. We had the Apple Cup, which was spectacular. And we had Michigan-Ohio State, the game, which ended up being quite a game. Now, Ohio State loses, obviously. Kyle McCord throws an interception on the last drive of the game. And now Ryan Day has lost 3 in a row to the Michigan Wolverines. And I thought that he had a lot at stake in this game specifically because Jim Harbaugh is not on the other side. You had the coach still suspended. You had the Michigan Wolverines dealing with this scandal and all of these swirling things around the sign stealing scandal. Like, this was a time to take advantage of maybe a wounded opponent or a distracted opponent or something like that. And Ohio State could not get it done. And now Ryan Day is facing a lot of heat.
Yeah, I saw the game completely differently. This is the Michigan team. Of the 3 that's beaten them, this is by far the best team, even though Jim Harbaugh wasn't on the sideline, because everyone's older. Everyone came back for this very reason to try and win a title this year. Blake Corum came back. He didn't have to come back at all. And you saw what happened. And Ohio State's the opposite. You had NFL quarterback after NFL quarterback after NFL quarterback, and now all of a sudden you don't have a quarterback, and that defined everything about this Ohio State team. I thought Ryan Day actually did a good job to keep them in it because this was at Michigan, and it is not the talented Ohio State team we've known and grown to love. They have one amazing player, Marvin Harrison Jr., but you saw Kyle McCord's weaknesses, and I love the dude because he's from Philly, but he is not the Ohio State quarterback we know. So to me, this was not the one Ryan Day was going to win, and he kept the game close against, I think, a much better Michigan team.
Listen, I think Ryan Day, it'd be, I think, a little bit short-sighted to only be, to only be evaluating a coach based on one game, especially if the last 2 years, not this year, but the 2 years before, maybe Michigan had the signs and maybe you had an unfair disadvantage that you weren't even privy to. But at the same time, that's the unique nature of this rivalry. And that's the unique nature of being the Ohio State quarterback, the Ohio State coach, which is if you can't beat Michigan, you are now on the hot seat. It might not make sense to people outside of Ohio, but to people in Ohio, it makes tons of sense. So I'm not saying that the administration should have like a hairpin, trigger finger here, whatever, hairpin trigger, but at the same time, that's the deal when you take this job, especially because Ohio State has been dominant in this rivalry.
Right, but I totally agree with you. I think Ohio people feel that way.
Yeah.
But if they fire Ryan Day, I can definitely see the Ohio State run of dominance being over. Look at what happened. Watching Auburn so poorly coached on Saturday. They fired Gus Malzahn, was idiotic, paid him $30 million to walk away, and they're terrible now. I think Ohio State falls back in the pack significantly. They let Ryan Day out. We're talking about kind of like Florida State was great one year, for a long time. Then they fell off. Florida was great. Then they fell off. Nebraska, Oklahoma, it happens. And I think if Ohio State lets Ryan Day out that door, they are falling back to the pack.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, there's like a thought here. I know Kyle McCord was not the caliber of the last couple Ohio State quarterbacks, but I mean, you've got so much talent. You're in this talent-rich area. Like, you don't think that Ohio State can keep it afloat? Do you think this all teeters on whether Ryan Day is at the helm here?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I do think they miss Urban Meyer, and then Ryan Day's a little bit down. But yeah, I think who are they going to hire? Give me a name. Whoever they hire, I think is in a very precarious spot because talent is spread out so much more with NIL. So Ohio State used to be able to get everybody in, and they're still getting big recruits.
Yeah.
But the fact that they didn't have one of the best quarterbacks in the country says something to me.
They were still ranked number 1 in the initial college football playoff rankings. It's not like they've been, teetering on relevance here. This is still a juggernaut of a program.
But that's because they beat up on the rest of the Big Ten that's not Michigan. I worry about Ohio State taking a step back. I don't even know who's the quarterback next year. Like, Marvin Harrison's walking out that door. I know they have a lot of highly touted wide receivers, but I don't know what's happening there. They seem to be a little bit of a rebuild mode, and they have all these really good defensive players are leaving. Yeah, I'm not sure that you want to let Ryan Day out now. If you do, I'm sure there's 100 schools that would scoop him up.
Okay, but there's another part of this that is just the reality, which is that the college football playoff goes to 12 teams next year.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Michigan, Ohio State's not going to mean as much because you have 12 teams.
Unfortunately, I mean, it will always mean something. It won't mean as much in terms of the college football playoff, rankings and whether or not they're going to get in because you think they are. Even with the additions of the Pac-12 teams like Oregon and Washington and USC and UCLA, you still believe that Michigan and Ohio State are going to be the absolute cream of the crop here. But in some ways, I think Ryan Day is fortunate because if this college football playoff was staying at 4 teams, and this is just how it is forever, I think that fans are really upset. And again, who am I to tell an Ohio fan that this, you should just overlook the fact that Day has lost 3 straight to Michigan and be like, oh, well, look at all the other games you win. That's what it's not about that for them. For them, it's about this game. And with no Harbaugh on the sidelines, it wasn't just a Ryan Day, lost this game. He was out-coached in this game. I thought Sharon Moore was better in this game than Ryan Day was.
Well,
going for it on 4th down, being aggressive when he needed to, where Day was settling for field goals and other things. I thought that Sharon Moore was better.
That's because Day doesn't like his quarterback. I mean, he's not going to go for it on 4th down with Kyle McCord. Honestly, their offense was kind of plotting all season long, and I think that's why he was not aggressive. I don't think so at all. I think Michigan has a much better roster. I think this is Michigan. First of all, the other thing, too, is do you really want a radical change in Ohio State? J.J. McCarthy won't be there next year. Blake Corum won't be there next year. Donovan Edwards won't be there
Maybe
next year.
Jim Harbaugh won't be there
Jim
next
Harbaugh,
year.
no, might not
I think
be
he might be the coach of the Bills, guys.
Do you want to take a big risk and bring in, I have no idea, Jimbo Fisher or who? I don't know who you're going to bring in. That all of a sudden you want a radical departure from a coach who is gotten you near the Final Four every single year. He's lost 6 games.
I get it, but here's the thing. You also, don't you have to blame the coach for the quarterback? Because this is not the NFL where you have a general manager who may have taken the quarterback like the situation's going on in Carolina, or you have an owner who falls in love with a quarterback and now you're Frank Reich and you just got to make the best of it with Bryce Young or something like that. You're the coach. You're the one who's recruiting. Like, you are responsible for who is quarterbacking this team.
Well, yeah, but teams can't have a Pro Bowl quarterback. They went from Justin Fields to C.J. Stroud. It's called rebuilding. It's what most teams that aren't Alabama and Georgia have to do. It was a little bit, everyone knew it was going to be a challenging year for Ohio State because they weren't settled at quarterback.
Yeah.
They were sort of having a competition right up until the end. I think you got to give Ryan Day a break for this team. And I don't think he was radically our coach. I think Michigan, like they did all through years, pushed him around. They had advantages on both lines.
Listen, you just mentioned Alabama. They had the unsettled quarterback situation, and it took a miracle for them to pull out the Iron Bowl, like literally a miracle, and a play they call Gravedigger to convert on a 4th and 31, which is absolutely wild. But they were a team that had a quarterback situation that came into the season that they were still figuring out a month into September, And look at where they are. If they beat Georgia, which we can talk about whether they actually have a shot here, but if they beat Georgia, they might get into this college football playoff, whereas Ohio State had a similar type of unsettled quarterback situation, and they are definitely not going to the college football playoff.
I do wonder if there's a question about whether or not Ryan Day is holding back Ohio State, considering they have out-recruited Michigan the last 4 years in terms of recruiting rankings. They've had top 4 classes each of the last 3 years, and they've been ahead of Michigan. Next year, they have the number 2 class in all of America. They have the number 1 wide receiver again. They have a top 3 quarterback coming in next year, and yet when they play against these games against Michigan, it doesn't feel like they have the better players on the field. So is Ryan Day holding back high-end talent?
You're using an outdated college football model right there. The high school class, that almost irrelevant at this point. I mean, who cares who the high school class is? Because they'll all be somewhere else by the time they're juniors. Look at the transfer portal. It's about to blow up this year, too. I think if you're going to blame Day for recruiting, he didn't bring in a quarterback. Maggie might have a good point. But look at, if you're judging a team on talent, this Michigan team is going to have a lot more NFL players than this Ohio State team. I think this draft, I saw Kuiper saying something. They might set a modern-day record for the most players drafted. Not all high-end, not all top first-rounders, but their entire roster is going to the draft. So I think if you judge it that way, Michigan is a much better team this year.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I like it as a poll question, though. At Maggie and Pearl on Twitter, is Ryan Day holding Ohio State back? See, it's funny because the last 2 years, now I'm rethinking that. You know, Ohio State looked bad in the game, not this one that we saw on Saturday, but last year. But did Michigan have the signs? And that.
Why do you need signs to run off the right tackle and run off your left tackle? They just pound them every year.
Well, there was a thought that Ohio State was not as physical, right? That they weren't as tough as Michigan.
Yeah, they're not.
Well, they're not. They're trying to be. I thought that was a point in this game, right? It looked like that was a point in this game. Meanwhile, because this is the new rivalry in college football, now that Ohio State has lost, well, what does Lou Holtz think about this? Because we know Ryan Day called out Lou Holtz after Ohio State beat Notre Dame. So after Ohio State loses to Michigan, here's Lou Holtz.
Everybody has to be their own, but losing to Michigan 3 years in a row is not good.
That's true. That's true. He's going to be a little hot water.
Yeah, it will be. What a long ride home, man, it must be.
Where was he talking?
He was on some kind of Skype or Zoom. But he was quite comfortable sitting in his lounge chair.
He's awake.
Hate to be Ryan Day today.
Can we hear from Ryan Day also, the actual coach of this game, one of the coaches in this game, talking about the disappointment in losing to Michigan.
We're all disappointed. We know that what this game means to so many people, and so to come up short is certainly crushing, not only just because you invest your whole year in it. We know at Ohio State what this game means, and so there's a locker room in there that's devastated.
Yeah, and not going to the college football playoff, obviously, and probably going to play some bowl game that no one's going to care about.
Probably not going. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll be. Is there a path of total chaos for a one-loss Ohio State team? Texas loses, Alabama loses, Florida State loses. I'm just trying to, because last year the Ohio State had a miracle run into the Final Four and almost beat Georgia.
Oregon to lose again.
Yeah,
to Washington.
You need a lot. I understand your point. There's a small percentage, but last year Ohio State didn't look like they were in, and then almost basically could have won the title last year. Which, and by the way, Ryan Day's best performance as a coach was that loss to Georgia.
It was an incredible game.
Yeah, that's why I'm not letting Ryan Day out the door, because he almost beat Georgia, who's going to go down as one of the great college football teams of all time. I think Ohio fans hurt themselves because their expectations are too high. Anything short of a championship and beating Michigan every year, you fire your coach. That is a little unrealistic.
That's the expectation. It's Ohio State. This is not Texas A&M or Mississippi State being like, if we don't win, we're going to fire our coach. That is the standard at Ohio State.
So basically, if you don't win the national title, you fire your coach, even if you make the Final Four.
No, it's not about that. But
you just said it was about that.
No, but that's the expectation. I'm not saying that you will definitely fire a coach unless you win the national title, but you're not supposed to lose 3 years in a row to Michigan. I know that.
I totally understand. But this is a glory time for Michigan. Michigan next year,
Glory, they've been.
This is the best run.
Scandal has been swirling. Jim Harbaugh's been suspended for 6 games this season. How is this glory?
Nobody cares about the scandal. You're not going to have a Michigan run like this in a long time. When was the last time Michigan was in the Final Four picture every year? It's been forever, and all of a sudden they're very good. This year they're particularly good. The other thing, too, is the Big Ten has not fared well against the SEC in the playoffs. So we'll see, even if you bring in a new coach, is Ohio State and Michigan, are they as good as the SEC teams who is down this year? I'm not sure either of those teams are going to beat Georgia. You saw the game on Saturday. Did they look like a threat to Georgia? Poor J.J. McCarthy. He was going to be a top 5 pick. What has happened to that dude?
Well, they decided to run the ball 100 times in a row.
They're killing his
winning.
draft status to win football games. What's up with that?
Yeah, how dare they? 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. So there you go. EJ will throw that up on the poll. Is Ryan Day holding Ohio State back? There you go. 855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, we've got your phone calls on that, of course. We also head back to the NFL because, guys, there's one coach out here who's playing 3-dimensional chess. It might look bad, but it's ultimately for the best cause. I'll tell you what I mean next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. If anyone missed the game yesterday, Jalen Hurts, once again, cool under pressure. Josh Allen not. Just want to remind Maggie at all times. We have a show bet that we're still debating coming in the game. If the Eagles won, Maggie has to wear all green and do whatever I say that a Philadelphia Eagles fan should do on Friday.
So puke on my own shoes and pee on my own leg.
But she's trying to claim. Oh, by the way, okay, like Buffalo fans don't do that as well. But she's trying to claim that it was a 3-point spread and that it was a push. And I have to admit, so if they'd kicked the extra point in overtime, then we would have covered.
No. Well, that's Vegas doesn't give refunds on that stuff. It was a 3-point spread. The game ends up that the Eagles won by 3. That's a push. I'm not wearing any of the Eagles crap.
That's ridiculous.
Loser.
I'm being called a sore loser by Anthony Croker, who's in the chat.
Loser.
I'm a sore loser. Why don't I wear the gear? I lost the bet. Sure did. Here's the thing. I didn't lose the bet.
Yes, you did.
It's Eagles -3. How many points did the Eagles win by?
I have a question. Are you satisfied with the Bills losing by 3 points this morning?
Of course not. I wanted them to
so
win.
So you lost the bet. Then it's over.
EJ, come on. That's not how bets work.
No,
You're such a loser.
When it's your team, that is how it works.
Yeah. We were betting on the Falcons-Saints game, and we were betting on the Eagles-Bills.
Okay, Perloff is now discounting wins that the Denver Broncos have in this 5-game winning streak because one of them is the Bills. He goes, "Come on, who have they beaten?" I go, "Well, I don't know. They beat the Chiefs. Mahomes was sick. They beat the Bills. You're a 500 team. Even you are saying that the Bills are not a good team right now. So of course they need a little bit of a handicap going against the 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles." Obviously, this bet was never going to be straight up, and it's in Philadelphia. Guys, I'm not wearing it.
I actually texted you before the game. I said, watch out. The Bills are going to either win this game or come close because Josh Allen was running for his life. This was do or die for the Bills. The Eagles didn't even seem to care. Jalen Hurts didn't even show up the first half of the game. That fumble was the laziest play I've ever seen in the first half where he's going for the handoff. It just didn't seem like the Eagles cared until the end. So I'm not sure that I'm giving you those 3 points.
What does it matter? What do I care how the Eagles played? Yes, that the Bills should have won. They should have won a lot of these games, but they don't because penalties were bad. Defensive play calling let them down / coaching decisions. And I'm not blaming him because he played the game of his life. But Josh Allen threw a bad interception in the second half too. And he's always due for one. If you're a Bills fan, you just know you got to live with it. 855-212-4CBS. Meanwhile, we've been talking about Ohio State and Michigan and whether Ryan Day is holding Ohio State back, considering they have all this talent and have not beaten Michigan in 3 straight seasons. Corey is in Ohio, wants to give us some perspective. Good morning, Corey.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Not well after our loss this weekend, but just it's kind of tough.
I can imagine. Are you mad at Ryan Day over this, or do you just think Michigan was a better team?
I think it's kind of both. I go both ways. Kind of upset that this is the 3rd year that we lost, but understanding that I think that Michigan kind of has our number right now. We got to change some different. We got to go a different path.
Listen, Corey, I mean, you want Ryan Day fired? That means different path?
Yes. I would say, as being an Ohio guy, it's unheard of for us to continue losing And when he signed in with us, he understands. He's got to understand that the contract is to beat Michigan.
Right.
But you realize if you fire Ryan Day, the Urban Meyer era is over. What were you before Urban Meyer, between Tressel? You could fall back to the pack a little bit here if you bring in a coach who's not good.
Right. I mean, that goes with, any program, right? You just got to go back out there and to find the coach that's going to be able to recruit, right? And then also recruit. The biggest thing is recruit within Ohio.
Yep.
In that Michigan line, and bring in the players. But that's just a rebuilding year. And Ohio rebuilding year is maybe we take a 3-loss season.
Wait,
but go ahead.
Who are the Ohio players? I mean, C.J. Stroud's from California.
Yes.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is from Philadelphia. Who cares about Ohio? This is a national. They're going to recruit California
Corey,
primarily.
Right.
Anyway,
thank you for the phone call. I get his point, though, right? It's like you have a Michigan player.
No, I don't think the local recruiting is not a real thing anymore. Now everybody's going all over the place, and the best Ohio State players are not Ohio players.
But you think the transfer portal means nobody cares about recruiting high school anymore? See, I think that maybe quarterbacks, maybe some wide receivers, stuff like that. But the depth of your team, there's still 100 guys on a college football team.
Yeah, but a team like Ohio State and Michigan, they're going all over now. Don't you think California, Texas, Florida is the key to all these? I understand. I love the Ohio, Michigan. Pennsylvania used to be an elite high school team. But you're not going to win by just recruiting Ohio. Is that really the key to beating Michigan here? Is that what we're talking about?
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, so we will continue with more reaction coming in to the bet. Titan fan saying, no one listening assumed that they had the point spread involved. It was win or lose, cut and dry. Again, not true. We put on the tweets. I know we're not expecting everyone to go to our Twitter feed, but if you happen to be there, at Maggie and Perloff on Twitter, it was Eagles -3.
Yeah,
that was it.
People just were mistaken. They thought you were actually a Buffalo Bills fan. They didn't understand
Yes.
that you were just a cold analyst who was looking at this from afar. When two mayors bet on a Super Bowl, they don't put the spread in.
What about you and I screams mayor
It's the same-
about anything?
Okay.
Pearl Sweater screams mayor on a Sunday afternoon.
Librarian,
Rogers.
yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
It's my Lucky
Can I
Green sweater,
borrow a
by the
book?
way. The Eagles have not.
It's his Lucky Green Center that wears the day after the game.
Well, I want to see if they win. Let's read the tweet.
Exactly.
Here's the tweet. New show bet. Bills at Eagles -3.
Thank
if the
you.
Bills win, no, that's just stating the fact. If the Bills win, Andrew Perloff has to wear my Buffalo Bills gear on Friday with face paint, sing, shout. If the Eagles win, it doesn't say cover, I'll wear the Kelly green with face paint, sing Fly Eagles Fly, and throw batteries at Santa. Deal. This is very clear language here.
Okay, but I put the -3 at the top. I don't have to keep restating it every time. Guys.
There's no stating anything there. That's just a fact. You put it at 425
In fact,
Eastern.
I think it was showing how confident you were by saying, hey, they're +3, and I'm still taking the Bills to win.
You're making me cheer for the Eagles fan. This is getting me very upset right now.
You guys should be on my side. I also didn't give the weather that it was supposed to be. I didn't give every single marker of what the game. I didn't say that it was Jim Nance and Romo calling the game. I added the spread because that was what was relevant.
But look at your
you were
language.
adding the spread because if they won, you would be on. Look at the Bills. Even with the spread, I'm taking them straight up.
The way
think
you
I
put the
ever
spread in
brag
here
about this team?
looks very factual. You say Bills at Eagles, Eagles -3, 425. Then you say if the Bills win, Andrew Perloff has to do this. If the Eagles win, you don't say cover or beat the spread. You say win, money line.
I never said one. I put -3, kind of assuming that everyone knows in this day and age, of course, it's against the spread.
Well, what was
No,
this?
nobody thinks that.
Yeah. My default is Team Maggie, but this is a tough sell, Mag.
Boo to you too, Bogish. Boo all of you.
What happened on the air, though? Did you say the points were involved?
No, we were so focused on college football. On
We made
Wednesday,
this
we
bet
forgot
off the
about
air.
this game.
Yeah, Maggie.
Bogish is here with headlines.
Get your green on. Headlines are sponsored by Northern Tool and Equipment. Get the tools you need from the brands you trust. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. Sunday wasn't a great day for Tom Brady's former teams. The Patriots played Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, and they both sucked, producing just 7 points, combining for 3 picks, and a 10-7 loss at the Giants. Bill Belichick's team is now 2-9. Does this want to play?
I can tell you. Is this a Belichick soundbite?
Yeah.
I think there was too many things that we didn't expect to happen. So just do a better job of, number one, taking care of the ball, taking care of our opportunities. That's all the way across the board, but it's too much poor ball security on offense.
Apparently, I'm using the Patriots version of the computer system here at work.
Outdated.
So the Patriots lose, the Buccaneers lose 27-20 in Indy. However, they do remain just a game out of first in that hapless NFC South. We also have Brady taking direct shots on ESPN yesterday morning. Former Chiefs QB Alex Smith didn't like Brady complaining about the state of the game on Stephen A. Smith's podcast last week.
I know he's referencing the rule changes over the middle to the receiver, but in my opinion, I think the game's gotten better. There's more parity across the league. Quarterback play is at an all-time high, I think, across the league. Like the best, you've got the best athletes playing the position. We didn't have this 30, 40 years ago.
Smith then reminded us that Brady was basically playing yesterday.
He hasn't been retired that long. He was just playing. Like he just won a Super Bowl in the current game. Like, is he discounting that one?
I'll discount it. And finally, something that needs to be said more, and Smith said it delicately because he was surrounded by 3 former Patriots on set as well.
He played in the most uncompetitive division, I think, in NFL history. I mean, you come out of training camp, the biggest cupcake division, you got a ticket to the playoffs right away. Like, talk about mediocre. I completely disagree with this.
There's no lie in there, by the way. They took care of business in January, but it was easy up until then for most of those seasons for the Patriots.
Yeah, I kind of like that. If this could be a lane here for Alex Smith, just be like the anti-Brady, because this is, I think, what people probably say about Brady behind his back, right? You got a little insight of what other quarterbacks who played against Brady probably say about him when he's not around, which is uncompetitive division. For how many years did they win the division? There could have been other AFC East teams that made the playoffs, but they won the division starting in 2003 and only missed from 2003 to 2019. They won the division every year but one.
I'm going to defend my JETS here because, look, I know it's been a long 12, 13-year playoff drought, but from 2001, when Brady first won his Super Bowl, to 2010, the Jets made the playoffs, including winning a division 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. It was not like the Patriots were just walking to a division title every year. The Jets were making the playoffs most of those years.
I know, but EJ, look at the records that the Patriots had during that time. 14-2, 14-2, 10-6, 12-4, 16-0, 11-5, 10-6. They were dominant. The Jets may have also made the playoffs, but they were not in the same class. You got the can't wait game. Okay, I'll give you Bart's game. But they were outclassed by the Patriots.
No, but it shows you they were beating good teams in the division in order to win the division. I don't think he deserves less credit.
Wait. But what about the Colts? The Colts did this formula where they got the number 1 seed every year and got killed in the playoffs. At least Brady won when he got to the playoffs because the Colts had expansion teams. The reason the AFC East was so bad is they kept firing their coaches and starting over a quarterback because they were chasing the Patriots. So the Patriots, in a way, created this bad division because they were so good.
Yeah, they were extremely intimidating.
The Colts had the Texans, Jags, and what's the other team there? The Titans to comply. They would win 12 games every year and then lose to the Patriots. So I think you could say that about the Colts, but you can't say it about the Patriots because I felt like the Dolphins and the Jets and the Bills were trying so desperately, drafting a new quarterback every year, trying something.
And what did it matter? It didn't matter.
By the way, the Jets made the playoffs in all those years with 4 different coaches: Herm Edwards, 3 different coaches. Sorry, Herm Edwards, Eric Mangini, and Rex Ryan. Todd Bowles won 10 games one year as well. This fantasy land that Tom Brady was facing no competition in his division. It's like saying
he was
Jordan,
not living in the AFC North.
No, but it's like saying Jordan didn't beat anybody in the Eastern Conference. Like, no, those were good teams. He just was great, and the Patriots were great. Like,
none of those Jets teams were the mid-'90s Knicks.
Yeah, I
like this is.
They went to the AFC Championship game 2 years in a row.
I know they did, EJ. That was a great moment for the Jets, but that was a moment. The sustained success that the Patriots had against the division is so part of the Brady story, and I'm glad that Alex Smith called it out. Because it's not like he was going up against Murderer's Row. He didn't have a foil in the division. Who was his rival in the division? Rex? And Rex was there and gave him 2 good shots. 2. They were also, the butt fumble game is also the Patriots. Like, they also blew them out. And I'm saying this as a Bills fan, they blew my team out. They were not competitive. I think they beat Brady 3 times. Like, it was barely. And that's the thing. It was a moment for the Jets. It was 20 years for the Pats. Alex Smith is right here. And it's part of the Brady story.
Well, one thing, the Pats were actually better against non-AFC East teams in the Brady years, so they killed everybody.
Okay,
it's a super nitpick, but but they had 6 easier games
But why? First of
almost
all,
every year.
I don't even understand the apples to apples of this comparison. Brady was saying the NFL is weak now because they call everything on the defense. What does this have to do with the AFC East?
Thank you.
Well, no, but he said both, right? Yeah. He said, should we discount Brady's last Super Bowl because he's playing in this quote-unquote mediocre era? And then he's also saying, let's call it what it is about Brady. Like, he had all this success because he...
But that's a different issue. I don't think... What connection does that have to what Brady was saying?
Because I think he's saying that there was mediocre play all through Brady's tenure.
As if his time was, I think he was saying that Brady thought he lived in a harder
Golden era,
NFL, and he didn't.
He definitely did, though.
He was saying it was more physical.
Cap.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, Ray Lewis and some of the
Peyton Manning,
the defensive,
the Chargers teams,
the
Steelers.
But the defensive players, I would say that, definitely the Ravens,
the Steelers,
your Jets for 2 years. Those defenses were legitimately good.
It wasn't
really,
the defense.
Really good.
It has nothing to do with the defense.
No,
They're still great. It's the officials. Did you watch the Texans-Jags game? They gave Trevor Lawrence about 9 first downs on these nitpicky. Everyone's calling this little 5-yard penalty to give first down. It's the officials.
Oh, I totally
Brady's
get it.
100%
but
right.
Brady was also talking about how when he was in his golden era, if you will, he couldn't throw over the middle because he knew it would get one of his wide receivers hurt.
100%.
Right. So, and now you don't do that. So he really was saying, I think that he was playing in a golden era because the defenses were ferocious, forced him to play differently. The defense can't do anything in this day and age, so it doesn't force the quarterback to play different. Guys throw over the middle and don't even
throw over the middle, and they get so many first downs on illegal contact plays now. That's that emphasis this year is killing a lot of games.
Patrick Mahomes is the current day Tom Brady. I mean, we just rattled off all those great defenses. Who is Patrick Mahomes facing in the AFC that's giving him all this trouble, especially defensively?
Well,
nobody.
Cincinnati, Lou Anarumo.
It's one team.
One team, and basically one.
And is that an elite defense?
Yeah.
Is that like the Steelers or the Ravens? They have a good defense. I don't look at them like the Steelers or the Ravens back in the day, or the Jets.
I don't think that the Chiefs really have. I think that the best rival they have now is the Bengals. It's obviously not this year because Burrow. It could have been the Bills, but the Bills didn't hold up their end of the bargain because they haven't been able to meet them again in the AFC Championship.
And Mahomes scored a touchdown in 20 seconds again on them in the biggest game of that rivalry so far.
Yeah.
And we'll do this to Mahomes when he's done playing. We'll go back and we'll nitpick stuff like this and we'll complain about the AFC West. And and I know that there's absolutely a saltiness to what Alex Smith is doing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change the fact that they won the tough games when it mattered, Brady and the Patriots. But we'll find the same things, whether Mahomes won 3, 4, 6 Super Bowls. We'll go back and find all the stuff you're saying right now. It's just part of the deal. Now, I think though Mahomes might stay more likable than Brady did. So I don't know if he'll have as many enemies or people looking for things to point out, but it'll happen. It always happens.
I also think there's two or three all-time defenses out there right now. I think San Francisco's defense right now can challenge anybody. I mean, they have Hall of Famers at they have a lot of all-pros on that defense. And the Steelers are not that far off. I know we don't talk about but TJ Watt and guys like Myles Garrett, there are some real big defensive stars right now.
Listen, and the Ravens might have the best defense, and we're not even talking about them. Statistically, I mean, they're holding teams to 13 points a game.
Yeah, because they're playing Scrub Central USA.
I don't know about that.
I think, they're really good too. Kyle Hamilton, I want that guy on my team. But generally, though, I think you look at the Niners defense. Couldn't that compete with the Ravens defense of old?
Yeah, but again, the bone-crunching hits, I don't think they're just not there.
They just lost 3 games in a row too, right? No.
Yeah, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, you just can't play that way anymore.
That Ed Reed and Ray Lewis team, they got to the Super Bowl with a 10-6 record one year. Losing 3 games, I think the 49ers defense is elite.
No, but the Ravens defense never had a stretch where we're saying we need to fire defensive coordinator because he's calling bad defenses or the defense. For 3 weeks here, we sat here and said the Niners defense has not shown up.
But they lost to the Browns, whatever. Anyway,
right.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying though, there wasn't if the Ravens lost, it was because Joe Flacco or whoever was playing quarterback wasn't getting the job done. It wasn't because defense looking soft.
Yeah, it's never been
the way we were talking about Fred Warner, we never talked about Ray Lewis like that at all.
Disappearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys underestimate that Niners defense, I think. But anyway,
Let's do the current Ravens. And how about their offense last night? Sunday Night Football in L.A. The Chargers hang around until the fourth quarter.
Lamar in the shotgun. He sends Zay Flowers wide to the right. Now he brings Flowers in motion to the left. He gives it to Flowers on the jet sweep. He cuts inside the numbers. He's to the 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Ravens! The Zay is in the barn, and the Ravens knock out the Chargers in L.A.
That's Jerry Sandusky, Ravens Radio. Zay Flowers also caught a touchdown in the 2010 victory. The Chargers committing 4 turnovers in their third straight loss. It is time for coaching changes in college football. Texas A&M is hiring Duke's Mike Elko to replace Jimbo Fisher, while Houston's Dana Holgorsen and Indiana's Tom Allen are out. And as we wait for the new CFP rankings tomorrow night, the AP poll now begins with Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and FSU. Ohio State drops from 2nd to 6th. Texas and Alabama remain 7th and 8th. The Orlando Magic on a 7-game win streak after downing the Hornets 131-17. Cole Anthony and Franz Wagner each scored 30 in that one. The Detroit Tigers are signing veteran righty Kenta Maeda, 2 years, $24 million. He had a 4.23 ERA in 104 innings for the Twins this past season. And on ice last night, the Oilers smacked the Ducks 8-2. Connor McDavid a goal and 4 assists. Guys, back to you.
Andrew Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, lots more, including a big question about one of the biggest teams in college football. Are things breaking right for them to sneak in to the top 4? We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Easy to kill a tortoise. That's the other problem. It's not easy to kill a tortoise. That's the other problem.
She'll figure
Trust
it
me,
out.
I fantasize a lot about this. How are you going to kill it? You have to drown it, right?
Oh my
Drown a
God.
tortoise? Isn't it under?
It's
Doesn't it breathe in the water?
amphibious. Google, how do I kill a
So
tortoise?
I was thinking, I live on the 8th floor. If I dropped him out the window, would the shell crack and he die? Because I can't.
What
the
is
worst,
wrong with your
family.
inhumane. Don't
Because
do
the
that.
worst torture would be to put him out on the streets. That would be
disagree.
awful.
How about Central Park? There's parks in New York City. I know people think it's just asphalt.
He would die a terrible death in Central Park.
Dropping him from a building?
Yes, that's much better. He'd die like that.
You don't know that.
Maybe.
No, he would have 0 point. How would he eat in Central Park?
He'd be scared before. He'd probably be scared when you're putting him out the window. Say, all right, goodbye. Like, you want to put him through that torture?
Don't do that.
You let him die over the course of 2 months in a foreign environment over Central Park. It would be terrible.
Perloff, tourists are going to feed him like hot dog bits and stuff.
Trust me, my sister's right. You got to kill him on the spot. That is the humane way to do it.
Trust my murderous
It's by
sister.
far the humane way to do
necks
it.
is always better.
You want to let a chicken wander the streets of Framingham trying to find kernels of corn somewhere?
How many missing husbands does your sister have?
You know, Danny didn't really want to live.
One minute remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Tonight's Monday Night Football preview is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Vikings hosting Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears. Minnesota winners of 5 of their last 6, but reeling from a 21-20 setback at the hands of the Broncos in Week 11. The Vikings are a 3-point favorite on FanDuel. I'm laughing because the copy here says Matt Eberflus. Or at Matt Eberflus, is that his name in Chicago now?
Yes, technical name.
that's how you pronounce it.
Why is Matt Eberflus even in this read? He's the unsexiest coach in the NFL.
Because his name is Matt Eberflus.
Eberflus. Well, does the NFL scheduling department sleep? What's happening here? Why are we not flexing out these games? I thought you could flex out Monday night this year.
No, we get this is like the Josh Dobbs love, I think, and probably Justin Fields love. I'm not sure.
Last night, the Chargers should not be on primetime anymore, and the Bears, Vikings, come on.
Yeah,
give me the Texans. Where are the Texans?
Honestly, they should have flexed Texans Jags into that.
Oh, so that should have been the Sunday night game for sure.
Definitely. You're right. There's a couple teams we got to just get off of primetime. Chargers, definitely one of them. I know people love Herbert, but it's just not happening. Like, they're 4-6, they stink.
It's very frustrating, too.
It's very frustrating to watch, although it was a close game. I mean, listen, the Chargers went on, a 15-play drive or something in the fourth quarter and just came away with no points in a 3-point game. Like, that's beyond frustrating. Get them off. Get the Jets off. No more Jets standalone games, please.
Yeah, I think America is over your Jets, EJ. Even this Aaron Rodgers, now the Aaron Rodgers thing just feels kind of sad that he wants to come back to this team.
Listen, this has been like you had the moment here where you have a Hail Mary that turns into a pick six. It's now called a Hail Mary. It's over. I think that was the moment.
This is worse than the butt fumble, by the way, in my opinion. Absolutely worse.
Strikingly similar. I mean, you were getting blown out in that butt fumble game. Was the butt fumble game on Thanksgiving too?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. That was a blowout. This was also a blowout.
The butt fumble,
I think the butt fumble was low, dude.
No, that play kind of happens. We see people run into each other and then they fumble. I don't think we've ever seen a pick six on a Hail Mary.
Well, the
at
thing
the end
is,
of a half.
Also,
it's ridiculous.
The Jets are way sadder now. at least back then, you were still like you were basically the tail end of Rex and the ground and pound. Like you had better days like in the recent past. Now you haven't made the playoffs in 12 years.
Right,
like,
exactly.
The quarterback was Tim Boyle on Friday. It wasn't Mark Sanchez.
But
I know
that's
Sanchez.
the point, though.
The butt fumble was so much sadder because it was Sanchez. Tim Boyle, nobody expected anything out of that dude. Also, we had James Harrison's halftime interception for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's what the play reminded me a little bit, which was actually a much more significant play. This was just kind of stat padding, which I liked, by the Dolphins.
I just couldn't believe it. It's like he's actually going to run this whole thing back. Now it's wild.
You guys didn't immediately think of James Harrison? Oh my God! Remember that play against Cardinals Steelers?
Yeah.
Well, no, funny story. So I did not watch this game because I boycotted watching A, Black Friday game, and B, the Jets. So it was a 2-4. And I saw the score. I'm following it while I'm baking blondies in my kitchen. I saw the score thing on my phone, and I'm like, oh, they threw a pick six, 99 yards. I thought, well, at least they drove the ball down the field and threw the ball down the 1 yard line. And okay, Boyle got picked. It's fine. Then I opened Twitter, and that's when I see that actually no, it was a 50-yard Hail Mary thrown from the other side, in which they did not move the ball. They got lucky that they got a turnover, and then it got sent all the way back. And I was like, why did I actually even think that the Jets had the competency to actually move the ball offensively? I was like, hey, you know what? We moved the ball, but we threw a pick, that's fine. But at least we got to the 1 yard line. That's pretty good, at least. Like, silly me.
No. Also, baking the day after Thanksgiving. That's an interesting move.
I was supposed to bake on Thanksgiving, but I was too tired, quite frankly. So I was like, sorry, guys, you guys have plenty of pie, and there's a cake here. I don't think you need these blondies today, so I'll bake tomorrow.
I want to hear more about these blondies. What do we got going on here? Yeah. Immediately everyone said, wait, did you put white chocolate chips in them? That's the best. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blondies are my go-to baking thing. Like that's the thing I make.
Interesting.
Is that part of a blondie? You have to have the white chocolate chips?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
At least the way I make it, you have to.
Yeah, and also regular chocolate chips?
No,
just
no regular, just white chocolate. Vanilla in there. And I usually I couldn't do the caramel sauce because we forgot heavy cream, but usually I do a caramel sauce over it with ice cream.
Random question for you, Maggie.
Yeah.
Did you cook that extra turkey we both mysteriously got in the mail? So Maggie and I last week were talking about somebody sent us a turkey in the mail, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. What did you do? You went down to Florida, and how did you deal with your turkey?
Still in the freezer. I looked up and down to try to find a turkey drop-off, like a charitable thing, but all the turkey drop-offs had happened like the weekend before.
Right.
And so now I'm just going to have to drop it off probably at I'll find another pantry or something that.
Or you could cook it.
That's what my husband keeps saying. He's like, let's just cook it. I'm like, it's 20 pounds. There's me and him and my 4-year-old son. It's not like we have all these mouths to feed. What are we going to do with 20 pounds of turkey?
So you have one big meal, then you have leftovers.
Forever. How long do we have leftovers for?
Bring it into the office. We could have your turkey, EJ's blondies. It sounds like a party to me.
You think people want to eat turkey right now? It's the last thing they want. Everyone's turkeyed out.
I don't know. I felt like there was a movement in America, anti-turkey movement, and I disagree. I loved my Thanksgiving meal. Everyone's talking about.
Did you cook it?
No, yeah, we did cook it.
How was it?
It was great.
Yeah.
Very good turkey. I can't get enough turkey and gravy. We killed a giant 25-pound turkey and then that 20-pound turkey easily.
Wow.
Did your sister kill that turkey? Is that what you're telling
she broke
us?
its neck.
No.
Okay.
Perloff's sister is like a part-time farmer. Breaks the necks of all of her chickens. Seemed gruesome.
Yeah, we went to the
Happy Thanksgiving.
It's funny. We went to the zoo this weekend, and we saw these chickens walking around in the kids' zoo. And I'm like, good thing my sister's not here. She would jump that fence and knock that out.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's Quentin Tarantino movie, and everyone's just blood everywhere. That's Perloff's sister. Anytime there's chickens around.
I also. I can't really tell the details of the story because I'll get in trouble, but my brother now works at the zoo, and he was telling me that once in a while, chickens will go into the wrong pen and other animals will kill them.
Oh, yeah, like the lion's den or something?
Yeah. So the chickens tend to wander around the zoo, and they often have an unhappy ending, like my sister.
Why are they roaming around the zoo?
I have no idea. Because they're birds. The birds are, you think, harmless. They can go amongst the people, but once in a while, man, if those animals he was telling me all these horrible behind-the-scenes zoo stories.
Wait, so just like a chicken, for some reason, walking around at the zoo?
He swore me not to talk about it. I can't talk about it, but yes.
Come on. Who killed it?
Oh,
a lion.
I don't know.
What other predators are at the zoo?
All of them. There's lots of things that can kill you at the zoo.
Parm's in Vancouver. Parm, help me out here. Where am I donating this frozen turkey?
To any homeless shelter. I'm sure there's tons of people out there that are just, less fortunate in these tough times. It's cold out there, and after COVID, you know that everybody's going through harder times than before. So do the right thing. I encourage all you guys in the staff room there, put some money up and donate a bunch of food and clothing to a homeless shelter from me from Vancouver, and do something to help somebody out, please.
Parm, we definitely will. Thank you for calling. It's not for a lack of trying. I really was trying to find a place that would take a turkey last minute, and it was hard to find.
Yeah, this is not a canned good. It's not exactly easy to drop off a 20-pound frozen turkey. Here you go.
It's a perishable item.
Yes.
I can't just drop it off at the doorstep of a church or something.
And it's not that easy to cook either. It takes a lot of work.
So I will find a place to put this turkey. 855-212-4CBS. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
playoffs now are going to be a pipe dream, which is massively disappointing. But why people are calling me a sore loser is not because the Bills lost. The offense looked the best that it has in weeks. It's because you and I had a show bet about if the Bills lost, I was going to have to dress up in Kelly Green and sing the Eagles fight song and memorize whole entire scenes of Rocky and eat cheesesteaks or whatever. And if the Bills won, you were going to have to dress up in like my Buffalo Bills gear and, sing shout and all of that. Yes, the Eagles won, but the spread was Eagles -3.
Well, first of all,
the Eagles won by 3 points. It's a push. Therefore, I am not paying off this bet.
But you should have confidence in your own team. You should, despite the 3 points, think that they're going to win. And first of all, you should have won the game. You outgained them by 100 yards.
Yep.
Lane Johnson was not playing for the Eagles, and everyone knows he's the real MVP of the team. When he's out, they're half the offense that they usually are. Everything was pointing for Buffalo. You shouldn't have needed the points here.
Okay, you're crazy. The Eagles have the best record in the NFL. My team was coming in as basically hover as a 500 team and playing like it for most of the season. Already fired their offensive coordinator, and they're on the road in Philadelphia.
So should I? Okay, the Eagles are underdogs this week against San Francisco. Should I feel good if they cover?
I'm just saying, for our purposes of the bet, this was with the spread.
When you do a bet
I'm not doing it.
When you do a bet with your own team, everyone knows the spread is not a factor. If you're talking about a normal bet, yeah, you put a spread in. You go to Vegas. But if you're talking about two fan bases and you're a Bills fan and I'm an Eagles fan, nobody includes the points in that kind of bet, and you know that.
Well, they should. We did. Therefore, I am not putting on face paint. I'm not eating cheesesteaks. I am not going to be throwing batteries.
What's this about cheesesteaks now?
Yeah, you can eat them on your own time, but okay. I'm not eating them. 855-212-4CBS. It was disappointing. For my Bills, at least. I mean, a team that comes in with Super Bowl aspirations already fired the offensive coordinator, but there are things that are wrong with this team. The depth was not there after losing a lot of players on defense. They've asked their defense to have to close out and win games for them. It's just not, they're not capable of doing it, and they're not being helped out by the head coach. And he called, soft defenses at the exact wrong time yesterday and allowed the Philadelphia Eagles to get into field goal range where they kicked a 60-yarder. And then on the touchdown in overtime, the Bills were clearly overmatched.
Well, the last drive, first of all, I think the Eagles kind of screwed that up a little bit. But you have to realize you're not crediting Jalen Hurts when you say that. Soft defenses.
Even Tony Romo said the same thing.
Oh, Tony Romo was out of control yesterday. I don't know what he was saying. But Jalen Hurts does that every week. He does that same thing. So I'm not sure what defense you can play against him. The dude in the fourth quarter is so money. And I think also there is something, the difference to me between Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts has this aura about him that we're going to come back. We're going to win. Everyone seems to know the big play is coming. For some reason, as great as Josh Allen is, and he did make the big play on Sunday, it doesn't feel like the team has that same Tom Brady-like confidence in him.
I don't know if I'd say that's true. Listen, you're always waiting for him to throw a pick. You know he's going to do it. It came at a really bad time yesterday in the second half. But I think there is that belief, especially when he was playing the way he was yesterday. I mean, he was amazing yesterday, converting on third downs on his legs. I mean, he was doing everything. Meanwhile, Jordan Mailata, according to James Palmer, a friend of the show, said on the game-winning touchdown, he couldn't believe the Bills gave them that look on defense. The play is a staple within their offense, and when they saw the safety move, they all knew that Jalen was going to score. That's a bad look for a head coach of the Bills who's the defensive coordinator also. He's now calling the plays on defense, and the fact that the Eagles' offense did something predictable, and the Bills, were not able to adjust, and not only that, just basically handed it to them and handed Jalen Hurts a walk-in touchdown. I mean, it's a bad look.
I don't agree with that either. You're telling me anybody out there is going to, if Jalen Hurts decides he's going to run, which has been very rare this season, nobody's stopping him. You're not stopping Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson or even Josh Allen on design runs. It's a really hard play to stop. I think it was a 16-yard run. Did you really think that the Eagles could have called a pass play? You think the Bills were stopping them at all anywhere? DeAndre Swift just had a 30-yard run. What about that play?
Yeah, that was bad too. I mean, I thought but at some point, I thought the Bills defense, listen, again, they're being asked to do too much at the end of games when they are been decimated by injury, and I don't think the head coach, who's the defensive coordinator, is helping them.
I look at that team too. They are so old. And I say
veteran presence.
You started the show by saying the Bills should fire Sean McDermott, the coach. I think they take a step back before they take a step forward because they need to find new players. So where are you going to get new players? You have to get bad and get in the draft, which is hard because you have Josh Allen. So that's a really tough spot for your franchise.
Listen, you'll remember when the general manager, Brandon Beane, got kind of crucified a little bit because he said, listen, we can't stink and be the Cincinnati Bengals and get Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And that's how you rebuild this thing. And he got crucified because it's like, oh, how dare you call out another team and, stuff like that. But you're right. I mean, the Bills have been really good for a lot of years. So they end up picking low in the draft. But you know what? Kansas City does it, and your Eagles do it, and other teams do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think then you do have a good point because Kansas City has Andy Reid and that coaching staff where Buffalo does not necessarily, but they've been taking some swings at older players and it hasn't been working out. I'm sorry, where's Von Miller?
Well, he was on the field yesterday, but you wouldn't know it. Billy Wolf is in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio if you want to watch the show. Also, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio says Maggie should at least pay off the bet for 13 seconds. That. A little salt in the wound for me.
It's so easy. I
agree. I realize it is easy. I cannot remember the last time the Bills won a big game. Meanwhile, so that's what's going on with Buffalo. We have a poll question. Well,
yes, we do. We have 2 poll questions.
Hold on, wait. Hold off 1 second on those. I'm sorry. I want to get to one other thing, which is the Steelers. This has been one of the big storylines, Perloff, throughout this season. They're your Super Bowl pick for the AFC, the Steelers. And they finally change offensive coordinators. Matt Canada's out. Mike Sullivan is the offensive coordinator and splitting duties with the running back coach as well. And boom, look at the difference. Finally, for the first time in 58 games, the Steelers have over 400 yards of offense. I mean, the change is immediate. And it just looks so much easier. Now, listen, they didn't score a lot of points in this game.
Did it really look easier? They just beat Jake Browning and the Bengals 16-10.
Yeah.
That's the win. That's the electric win that the Steelers got?
They were 1 for 4 in the red zone, so that's still an area that needs to be shored up, obviously. But no, it definitely did look easier. And
I think there's another reason. I actually said this. Pat Freiermuth in that offense is a total game changer. When he went out, Kenny Pickett cannot throw to a wide receiver. Can only throw to a big tight end going over the middle. So that being said, name the AFC team that the Steelers can't beat. It's not easy.
I don't think they'd beat the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs
I don't know if
the Chiefs are pretty anemic. I think they've beaten the Ravens.
Yeah, but the Ravens dropped literally 10 passes.
I know, but the Ravens will play an ugly game. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but there are scenarios where the Steelers' defense could cause problems for all these teams. So at least they're in it. Jacksonville's probably a lot better than Pittsburgh too. Your Super Bowl pick.
Yep.
But I do think I feel much better now than I did a few weeks ago. And there's precedent of a team firing their offensive coordinator, picking it up on offense, and I think Sunday was a good sign. The 2012 Ravens fired Cam Cameron and went on fire the rest of the year. Now, the Steelers, 16 points against the Bengals, not fire, but it's better. I am really encouraged.
So I think the 2 reasons why this looked easier was one, just what you said about what are the 2 quarterback best friends, what really helps out a quarterback, because Kenny Pickett had really gone under a lot of fire here this season.
Tight end and a running game.
Exactly. And that's what you got yesterday. You got the Freiermuth 9 catches for 120 yards. You got 153 rushing yards. You were converting 8 out of 17 of your third down conversions, and you won the time of possession battle by almost 14 minutes. Yes, you probably should have blown out the Cincinnati Bengals, but still, these are good signs. And it's funny because Mike Tomlin, of course, and let's hear a little from Mike Tomlin, really downplayed the impact of these changes made on offense.
I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush and act like Eureka. We did what we needed to do to win the day, and we'll keep pushing.
It also helped the defense kept the Bengals went 3 and out a lot. They only averaged, I think, 2 yards per carry, 4 yards per play. So one thing about the offense, it helped that the Cincinnati couldn't hold on to the ball at all. They were terrible yesterday. Jake Browning should not be playing in this situation.
No, and you were wondering, all right, he's got to be the backup for a reason. Maybe he's just been sitting there, but he's been in the league for, 5 years or so, Jake Browning. So it's not like he's a rookie. He's just not very good.
Well, the Steelers do have the Cardinals and the Patriots coming up next. Now, Kyler Murray would make me a little nervous, but that's in Pittsburgh. They're playing really poorly right now.
The Cardinals are terrible.
And
yesterday.
then New England. So the Steelers are 7-4. We're looking at 9-4. That's a gaudy record if they get there. I mean, I'm only rooting them for them because I picked them for Super Bowl. 9-4. You're in play for some things, Maggie. You might get home field. A lot good could happen at that record.
Things are breaking right for a few teams in the AFC. Number one, things are breaking right for the Chiefs because now you don't have Joe Burrow to have to worry about. You're not going to have Josh Allen to worry about. These are close to the two rivals, I guess, that the Chiefs have now.
And Deshaun Watson.
And Deshaun Watson is out. That's how things are breaking right for Pittsburgh. Deshaun
I think
Watson,
that's for KC too as well.
And also no Burrow also breaks well for Pittsburgh. I mean, it's just the quarterbacks have just been sort of decimated a bit in the AFC.
Well, you do have Trevor Lawrence, who looked really good on Sunday, and now C.J. Stroud emerging, and Gardner Minshew is a punky little guy there. So I do think it's not. I'm not penciling the Chiefs into a Super Bowl. You're right; it is breaking right. That's why I think Pittsburgh has a desperate puncher's chance. Of course, they're not the favorite. They're not good on offense, but I'm feeling a little life here, Maggie.
The one thing that is going to be interesting to me about the Chiefs is if the Ravens keep winning and they get the home field advantage, what will it be like for the Chiefs to have to finally go on the road if things would play out and have to play the AFC Championship game somewhere else than Arrowhead, right? Arrowhead is such a good home field advantage. The crowd is insane. I mean, they have such success there, except for when Burrow obviously went in and beat them a couple years ago. But still, like, you want that game at home.
Yeah, I mean,
what will it be like if they don't get to
Chiefs
play?
have an easy schedule. The Ravens have a tough schedule. So Ravens have to go to Jacksonville, to San Francisco.
Yep.
It's going to be tough. I mean, they're playing fantastic football, but the Chiefs, I mean, come on. They're playing teams like the Raiders a lot. I think the Chiefs still have a great chance to get number one, and then we won't find out.
855-212-4CBS. Adam is in Vancouver, wants to weigh in on our show bet, which is now null and void, guys. Null and void. It was Eagles -3. Eagles won by 3. That's a push. I'm no longer having to dress up in Eagles gear, sing the fight song. Adam, what's up?
Loser. Well, first off, happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, you're welcome. Listening to you guys read off the tweet, it didn't sound like you actually put the spread as a part of the bet. You just listed it off like Eagles +3. So that to me says that, Maggie, you got to pay off the bet here and just wear the green. It won't be that bad.
Adam,
and
easy for you to say.
No. Oh yeah, you're right. It is easy for me to say. I'm a Dolphins fan. But one other thing, Maggie, I think you should be concerned about just how much flopping your quarterback does. Like, he looks like a soccer player out there.
How much flopping? Listen, here's the thing about that. Wait, Adam. Josh Allen may or may not have sold a little of a roughing the passer call when, by the way, the defender was up around the shoulder neck area, and the Bills were getting hosed on every call. It was like 5-1 yesterday. That's not just me as a fan. Even Perloff would agree. And Adam, thank you for the phone call. Good to talk to you. Even you would agree.
Yeah, there were some calls, but that flop was embarrassing because you're Josh Allen.
Who cares? By the way, he does that a lot.
Jalen Hurts doesn't do that.
Tom Brady used to do it. So if Tom Brady can flop around and get these calls, then Josh Allen can do it.
I don't think Tom Brady's athletic enough to flop the way Josh Allen did. He jumped back 3 feet and landed on his back.
Well, don't go anywhere near the quarterback's head and neck.
I honestly thought that was the moment the Bills lost the game because the sports gods are very fickle, and you could tell that was not good.
Well, how about the sports gods with the referees? Basically, you had Slay mugged Stephon Diggs twice in the game, and it didn't get called. And how about the sports gods where Josh Allen gets tackled by a horse collar tackle, and not only does he not get the call, he gets called for intentional grounding. Where were the sports gods on that one?
What about all the holds when Josh Allen would scramble around? And basically, did you think they could stop those pass rushers without holding? No way.
Perloff, they got called for 11 penalties yesterday. I mean, they got called to the Eagles 4. And by the way, Jason Kelce, after the Peter King, admitted they were false starts on his part.
Oh, that last false start was ridiculous.
It was
so minor.
He flinched. That's it. George is in L.A. Good morning, George. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Maggie. Good morning, Perloff. Perloff, I would not be worried about Murray. He looked terrible yesterday against the Rams. Rams finally had a complete game.
Yeah.
And the score wasn't even indicative of how badly the Rams beat him. The last touchdown was basically run out the clock type thing.
Yep.
But and also that was ridiculous that Buffalo Bills Josh Allen didn't get that horse collar. That was ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what that referee was seeing.
Thank
anyway,
you, George.
the Rams are back. They might go on a run. I'm not sure. They can take out Cleveland next week, then we'll see what happens. But thank you very much.
You got it. So the Rams, very impressive win yesterday. Matthew Stafford throws 4 touchdowns. Kyron Williams was amazing.
I got to be honest. I'm patting myself on the back for this one. I saw 1 week of Kyron Williams, and I told you and I told my fantasy partner, this guy is going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
But somebody got him in that expansion draft after week 1 in fantasy. But I don't know. I'm not going to buy the Rams are back because they always beat the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are terrible. Where are the Rams going? They're 5-6 right now. I understand this was a good game, but can they beat a good team? Because I still don't think so. I think they can beat the Cardinals. And I watched a lot of that game for some reason. There wasn't a lot on in the 4 o'clock window. Yeah. I'm still a little underwhelmed by them.
You know who this story is really about? No disrespect to George and the Rams and all of that. This, to me, is still about Arizona. Like, you could have just stayed with Dobbs or kept Kyler away, and you could have kept losing, and you could get that number 1 pick.
Well, actually, it turns out you might have won with Dobbs and hurt yourself. Because I don't know if Kyler Murray is much more effective than Dobbs.
But Kyler won you a game last week, I'm saying, not this week. And
Dobbs might have won that, too.
Now you're 2-10, and you have to battle with New England, who's sinking like a stone. You have Carolina, who is so bad, and they're going to give that pick to Chicago. Like, if you had just stayed the course here, Arizona, you're getting that number 1 pick.
But look at Arizona's future, though. They have at Pittsburgh, San Francisco, at Chicago, huge game.
Yep.
Then at Philadelphia and Seattle. They could easily lose out this schedule. They're not a very good team.
No, they're not. But Kyler makes me a little. I know he was bad yesterday, but he makes me a little bit more nervous here. There was no reason for him to come back.
I think Dobbs and Kyler are about the same right now. They did
How
trade.
sad
They
is
should have
that?
gone. They should have gone to Clayton Tune.
Or Tune could
Yeah,
lose you some
no.
games.
If they really were dedicated to this bit, they would have gone with Clayton Tune.
Clearly, they're not.
NFL's got to get rid of this tanking situation.
They have a problem.
We can't have these tanking games. We had the tank bowl between the Giants and the Patriots. Now another tank bowl in a couple of weeks with the Bears and the Cardinals. This is really bad for the NFL.
Well, I mean, look at all the crappy quarterbacks that are around the league, possibly because they're tanking, possibly just because they're backups and they're bad, right? It's like
But
you get stuck between a rock and a hard place here because if you don't have a good quarterback, you're just sunk in the league.
Well, why are all these bad? I feel like the good backup quarterbacks are on the bench. Why is Jacoby Brissett not playing right now and Tim Boyle is? It makes no sense to me. Teams are making such odd personnel decisions.
That is just every Jets fan wanted to know. Why don't we have a better backup quarterback? I mean, the team we think because Aaron Rodgers they either didn't want to upset Rodgers by bringing someone else in, or Rodgers straight up did not want someone else in.
I also think the Cleveland Browns, I can't remember exactly the TikTok of it. They had such a good defense to not invest more. You could see Deshaun Watson's been injured since week 1.
Yep.
Why didn't they bring in a proven vet? I know they had PJ Walker, but a higher end backup early on, knowing that Watson was vulnerable and you have this great defense. Teams are being cheap here or looking to the draft. I don't know what's happening.
Or maybe they have allocated so much money to one quarterback, they don't want to allocate a lot of money to the backup quarterback.
That's actually very accurate.
Meanwhile, Myles Garrett in a sling yesterday after their loss to the Denver Broncos. 855-212-4CBS. Broncos hottest team in the NFL. 5 in a row. 855-212-4227. We'll get more into that and that season that is now looking like it could end with playoffs. We also have the Cowboys. One spot where Perloff and I do not agree on the Cowboys, and it's a big one from Thanksgiving Day. We'll get to that in a moment. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, cool. This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. This is Maggie Gray with the CBS Sports Minute sponsored by Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. The Pittsburgh Steelers finally changed offensive coordinators, and the impact was felt immediately. Pittsburgh registered 421 total yards of offense for the first time in 58 games, and everything looked easier for Kenny Pickett. Pickett completed over 72% of his passes, utilizing a quarterback's two best weapons, a pass-catching tight end and a robust run game. While they only scored 16 points to beat the Bengals, Pittsburgh's newfound balance on offense puts them back in Super Bowl contention. I'm Maggie Gray.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's a Dallas 43. Howell's back, throws it.
Oh, look out.
Picked off! It's Bland! It's Bland! He's got one man to beat at the 20. He cuts left. He breaks the tackle at the 10. He did it again!
That was Deron Bland. Now has the NFL record, Perloff, his 5th pick 6 of the season. It happened on Thanksgiving Day. Let's get to our Cowboys quickly. Brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. So Deron Bland breaks the single-season record for pick sixes. He is now going to win Defensive Player of the Year. That is how this is going to work, and I can't imagine how he's not going to get the award.
So people understand that this is an empty stat. Let's look at the games where he got. First of all, it was 38-10 when he got this pick six. He is the prototypical Cowboy. He knows how to get a shiny, glitzy play when it doesn't matter. But when it does matter, let's see him do it. That was 38-10. It's amazing who he's had these pick sixes against. He knows when he's going against a bad quarterback and the Cowboys are up by 30 that the quarterback's going to have to throw that out pass even if he doesn't want to. So he jumps the routes. He did it against Bryce Young. Anybody could pick six Bryce Young. You could, Maggie. He did it against the Rams in a 43-20 win. He did it against the Daniel Jones and the Giants in a 40-0 win. And he did it in a 38-3 win over the Patriots. So when they're up by 28 points, he's amazing at this. But he has not done anything against the Eagles. He has not done anything against the Niners. He has not done anything that actually means anything. So I think voters are savvy enough to know the difference. And I think Micah Parsons is also going to be a very strong candidate for the Cowboys.
Your Cowboy Quickie.
I was surprised coming in by Bland's 9th in odds coming into the last week. And I'm not sure everyone above him had great weeks too.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? I think that it's not stat padding when it's a pick six, right? Because it'd be one thing if you're just intercepting the ball off of bad quarterbacks, but you've got to complete the play on the other side with, everyone trying to stop you. Like, to me, that's what sets him apart to make him Defensive Player of the Year. It's not just the interception. It is the returning it 4 touchdowns. Like, that impact doesn't make it stat padding to me. It makes it an amazing play.
But it's not that amazing. Basically, he's saying, this wide receiver is not going to beat me deep, so I can drive on that route. The quarterback's going to have to throw that pass. It's the same pass every time. Some scrubby quarterback trying to find a wide receiver 7 yards downfield on the sideline. And Bland just runs it and jumps it. And it's not like he's weaving through a lot of traffic. He's just running straight into the end zone.
Okay, but think about it, right? Then if it was so easy just to pick on bad quarterbacks and you would have these kind of stats, then why have we never seen it before? Like, why don't we see more guys jumping routes or taking it to the house? It's because it's really hard to do and rare. It's not like you're stat padding like you're the offense and you're just adding touchdowns in garbage time at the end of the game. Like, you have to complete this play. It's amazing.
But was that Deron Bland pick six did have any impact on the outcome of that game?
I think it's individual defensive performance because he's setting the record. No, because
did that have any impact? Why did you? The fact that you answered with a completely different answer shows you. No, of course it didn't.
No, I'll answer it this way. Did Dak Prescott's 4th touchdown mean anything in that game? Absolutely not. Right? Is that going to matter in his MVP candidacy? Yes, it will. And everyone will say that look at all these gaudy numbers that he had, and the last 2 touchdowns that Dak Prescott threw didn't mean anything. So I can give it to you both ways there.
The other thing, too, with the Cowboys, if you're looking at this vote, why is it easy to get pick sixes? Because the quarterback is terrified of Micah Parsons and throwing the ball early. So I think you'll get a lot of votes with Micah Parsons. And I think he is if Myles Garrett is really hurt, I'd bet on Parsons before I bet on Bland, just because the other thing, too, the narrative award, I think we all recognize Micah Parsons is a little more spectacular than Bland. Bland's been great, don't get me wrong, but I think Parsons is the next step above.
I think people like the Bland story because he's stepping in for Trey Diggs, and the fact that they haven't lost a beat is amazing. Braden is in Colorado. He's got a thought on this. Good morning, Braden. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. What's in your mind?
Well, just a little maybe Thanksgiving hangover here, but thankful for you, Maggie, for being able to set the record straight on this Deron Bland take. I think it's easy to do it against bad quarterbacks. Anybody can do it. Take is terrible. I mean, there's a reason that pick six record has stood for as long as it has, and it's as low as a number as it is. It's incredibly difficult to do, and I agree with you 100%. didn't have any impact on that game singularly, that pick six, but it has a major impact in how many times he's targeted the game. As far as being able to lock down one side of the field for the most part and not even pay it a second thought because of who's lurking over there. So I think it's incredibly impressive. I think he is going to be the defensive player of the year. And so far he's had a bigger impact overall on defense than Micah has this year for the Dallas Cowboys defense, and I really don't think it's close. So thanks for having a good take on that side and setting him straight, and I'll tune out and listen to the response. Thank you, guys.
Braden, thank you so much. Not just the 5 pick sixes, which breaks the record, but he has 7 picks on the year. So he has 2 other picks just in the regular variety, which is really good for a corner.
So now I'm a little nervous because I don't want to set him up. But if he doesn't get a pick against the Eagles and the Eagles win that game, I think there's going to be a lot. I think everyone's going to go where I go. I tweeted the other day that he's like A-Rod up 8-1 in the game and pads his stats. I mean, it is, if you look at it, it is against a real loser's row of quarterbacks.
Okay, well then when I say that Dak Prescott should not be the MVP because the no-show against San Francisco and blowing the end of the game against the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't want to hear that same argument.
Well, yeah, but I would say the argument is Dak had one of the great games against the Eagles in the link. That was his best game of the year, probably.
Okay, but what happened on the final drive?
Yeah, but that was a tough spot. The Eagles were guarding the end zone. It was still a tremendous effort.
No,
and
but
it was
taking
a
bad sack, the false start penalties, like these are other things that the quarterback is responsible.
But the reality of the game, he was the single best player on the field that game. That was a great outing by Dak.
And they lost with the game in his
Because
hand.
their defense couldn't handle Jalen Hurts when it mattered.
Gary is in Portland's got a thought on the Steelers. Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Good morning, Maggie. Just thankful and blessed to be here. First time caller. I've been listening to you guys for about 2 weeks. So, but my thing about the Steelers is, a lot of people are counting them out. And I tell people this all the time. Don't count out Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
He finds a way with these Steelers. Yeah, the offense is not that great right now, but they will figure it out. It's not a coincidence we finally hit 400 yards after we fire Matt Canada.
Right. Right. But, it's funny. Tomlin was extremely reluctant to make that change and then refused to kind of say this was, what did he say, a eureka moment yesterday? But we all know.
Yeah.
We don't need to, Gary, thank you so much, and thanks for finding our show. We don't need Tomlin to say it. Everyone could see it looked easier yesterday. It looked a lot easier for Pickett. If he had been playing this way all year, even though they didn't score a lot of points yesterday, I don't think anyone would be talking about his regression and not being able to, take steps forward.
Yeah.
Clearly, the problem was the offensive coordinator.
It was a combo. I think the Freiermuth injury was a huge part of what happened to this offense.
That's true.
Kenny Pickett is just the kind of, he's not super accurate. He doesn't have a good, strong arm. So a tight end is the perfect solution for a guy like this.
Quickly, Adrian's in Maryland wants to talk about, is Deron Bland Defensive Player of the Year? I say yes. Perloff says no. Adrian, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Maggie, I agree on 100% with you. Pick sixes just don't land in your hand. He had one pick six that landed in his hand, and that was against the Giants where Diggs popped the ball out of the receiver. But the other ones were all legit pick sixes, chasing down the quarterback to just basically bait him into the pick six.
Mm-hmm.
Perloff, I know you're an Eagles fan. I know you're probably a Dallas hater, but come on, you got to give the guy some credit here.
Well, he's giving the credit to Micah Parsons, not to Deron Bland. But Adrian, I'm clearly with you.
But I think that there's some significant moments upcoming for the Cowboys, and these pick sixes have had nothing to do with the Cowboys. Yeah, we know they can blow out the Giants. Great. Aren't people getting fed up? Even Cowboys fans, do they even care if Deron Bland wins Defensive Player of the Year? Is that where it's like the Sixers with Joel Embiid winning the MVP. Don't they have bigger things on their mind here instead of padding their stats against these really, really crappy teams?
Well, I mean, again, I think the same people want Dak for MVP, and he's padding his stats against crappy teams.
Yeah, but he's the quarterback.
But what is this padding stats deal? You play football till the last whistle.
Well, you play football to win football games and to beat good teams. So if you have good numbers against bad teams, that's great. But if you can't win the big game, then what are we doing here? Who cares?
But I don't think there's a such thing as padding stats in the NFL, especially on defense. Like
not on defense, on offense.
Right, on offense maybe, but on defense, like how do you pad your stats? A guy throws a bad ball, you jump it and you take it to the house. How is that padding your stats?
Yeah, I think it's just making an excellent play. We got to get to our headlines. I'm sorry.
Why do you guys think that he's not higher up in the odds then?
I think because DaRon Bland is a 5th-round pick and people don't quite believe that he's really him. They think that he's maybe a flash in the pan.
Or maybe that Diggs had 11 interceptions in the same system because that defensive line is terrorizing bad quarterbacks.
Yeah, but Diggs didn't have the pick sixes.
Right, but Diggs had 11 interceptions. I mean, it's a similar dynamic.
Andrew Bogusch is here. He's got headlines. It's been a busy morning.
And guys, this is not breaking news, but the Eagles are jerks. Their new gimmick is mailing in the first half so they can rally and win in the second or in overtime. It was 17-7 Bills in intermission yesterday. Buffalo was still up 10 after 3, up 3 in the fourth, up 3 in overtime. But the damn Birds won again.
Hurst takes a quarterback keeper to the 5 and into the end zone for the ball game. A 12-yard touchdown run by Jalen Hurts in overtime. And that is that.
And that's how it sounded on Bills radio when Maggie lost the show bet. Philly rope-a-doping its way to a 37-34 home win. They've won 5 in a row overall. They trailed at the half in the last 4. That matches an NFL record.
Our resiliency, day in and day out, game in and game out, we've been challenged in a number of different ways. But we always find a way, and that's something you can't really take for granted.
That's Jalen Hurts at the.
I'm sorry, I did not lose the show bet. That's now
Jalen Hurts throwing
under
for
protest by me.
Yeah, to you. It's a self-protest.
I'm protesting. It's like Rob Manfred. The game's under protest, like a baseball game. I'm finishing the show under protest because it was Eagles -3. They won by 3. That's a push. That means I don't have to pay off the show bet. I don't care what Bradley Cooper has to say about it.
By the way, the powers that be literally came into this control room and said, no more points on show bets in the future. So just let you know, Maggie, you're not getting off the hook. If you get off the hook this time, it's not happening again.
Listen, I will talk to the powers that be and we'll hash it out because it says -3 in the tweet, which obviously implies.
It also says 4:25 Eastern in the tweet. What are you talking about? You never said. You said if the Eagles win, this happens. If the Bills win, this happens. You never said cover.
Well, but when you put the -3 in the tweet, it's implied. We do everything against the spread around here. When have we ever done anything straight up? Never. We would never pick a game straight up. That's not how we do it on the M&P show.
Wait, we've never done a game straight up? That doesn't sound right.
That definitely is cap also.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
No, we're doing it for the Michigan bet we have, where we have you and I maybe wearing wrestling gear.
I know, but EJ, that's because yes, we might be wearing wrestling singlets.
Right.
That's because we have no idea what the spread will be if and when Michigan makes the college football playoff.
Wait, what is that bet?
No, the bet is that if Michigan will not win a playoff game.
And
I don't know who they're going to play. I don't know what the spread's going to be, but I am praying to God that Michigan loses so I don't have to wear the singlet. I'm not thinking about, well, if they get Washington, maybe they'll be, 9-point favorites and Washington can just cover. That is not what I was thinking.
Wait, do I have to wear a singlet if Michigan loses?
No, you wear it if they win. If you have to wear it
if they win.
Yes.
If they win.
I don't want to wear a singlet. You guys don't want to.
No,
we wear it
you
if they win.
If they win,
if they lose, you have to win.
Yeah, I know, but they're going to be under. They're not going to win it. They haven't won. What are they in the Final Fours? They're 0-2. They lost to TCU. Now they're going to play Oregon.
Right.
I'm sorry. Back to Bogusch. We'll iron all
there was
that
no spread in that. Wait, and that's not straight up. That's against. Yeah, we don't do spread bets. You and I on these show bets, we never done this. We never had a single bet where we bet, okay, this will happen -7.5. It's never happened.
There's no spread of votes on the Wembanyama Rookie of the Year thing. If he beats Homer by 6 and doesn't cover, you're not off the hook for that.
I know, but those bets don't lend themselves to spreads. This was me versus you. These teams played each other. Of course,
I just thought you were. All this time I thought you were a Bills fan.
Yes, am I not?
Yeah, you're rooting for your team to lose, but only by 3 points.
No, I'm rooting for them to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of. I just thought you're an adult, and
I just don't want to dress up in this Eagles junk.
Why? Eagles stuff is great. The Kelly Green's great. You're gonna eat delicious cheesesteaks. I'm jealous, by the way. I would love to have cheesesteaks.
They're winners right now.
Oh my gosh.
EJ, do you know about the cheesesteak bet? You want in on that with me?
No, that's a different one.
What is the cheesesteak bet?
I lost a cheesesteak bet to Zach Gelb. I have to eat 4 cheesesteaks in a half an hour.
Do you want to do that by proxy? But for me, you can eat the cheesesteaks and I'll watch.
No. I don't want you eating cheesesteak. I want you singing "Fly Eagles Fly" and doing the Rocky scene. That'll last longer. Eating a cheesesteak will be fun. I want you to really be tortured here.
Sitting next to Perloff over these last couple of years has taken all joy out of any Rocky film. Like I can't even think about watching them anymore.
Well, I think beating Russia and Rocky IV had nothing to do with Philadelphia. That is your favorite.
That is my favorite.
That is your favorite one. You can stick with that.
Yeah, very few Philly scenes in that one.
And can I just rewind for a second? If Bradley Cooper was to come on the show and issue a ruling, it would have to be binding. You said you don't care. Yeah, we'd have to care.
Oh, by the way, Maggie's talking a big game about Bradley Cooper. Oh, it's Bradley Cooper. He's not a good movie. If Bradley Cooper walked in here, she'd be so gaga. She would be.
Not.
She would wear.
I would tell him to get a life.
Get out of here. Get a life. Yes, he's got a great life.
What successful actor has time to go to 8 home Philly games a year?
It shows you how nice
Bradley
he
Cooper.
is. Shows you how nice he is. He can be half the year and then be at every Eagles and Phillies game the rest of the way.
How about this? Real fan, sit in the rain. Really cool being in the owner's box, all dry, the luxury suite. It's pouring rain. You're a big Eagles fan. Put a poncho on like everybody else and sit your ass in the rain.
Wow, you are stretching.
Yeah, what's worse than grasping at straws? What's the next level of that?
This is Perloff level stretching going on right now.
Bradley, would you like to sit in the luxury box or sit in the rain?
Where would Mike Trout be sitting? I bet he'd be sitting with a poncho in the front row.
He actually probably was
there. He plays baseball. They don't play in the rain. There's no way he's sitting with the rain with all those people.
I bet he's there with that dog mask on, being a real fan.
Mike Trout was probably there in the rain, actually.
And nobody even noticed him.
Do we know?
Because he's anonymous.
He doesn't even really make the camera as much as now that you got Bradley Cooper. Why would you show Mike Trout?
The
13
only
years of playing in L.A. for you.
The only Philadelphia Eagle fan I like is Ryan Phillippe, because he came on our show and was very nice.
There's nothing but cool. Philadelphia fans, say what you want. The Philadelphia fans are great. Tina Fey, you don't like Tina Fey?
Well, obviously I love Tina Fey, but I conveniently forget this part of her personality.
Yeah, once you're from Philly, you have no choice. It's not your personality. It's a geographical impairment that you root for the Eagles. You have no choice here.
Oof. Anything else?
I can sneak in some NBA drama. Suns and Knicks tied at 113. Final seconds of regulation last night.
Booker rising up for the win. 1.7 left, and Booker goes boom.
Devin Booker, the winning 3 on Suns TV. He scored 28, 11 assists in a 116-113 victory. Phoenix now on a 7-game win streak, and the St. Louis Cardinals said to be close to a deal with free agent righty Sonny Gray. And now I'm done. Back to you guys.
Andrew Bogish, thank you so much. That was delightful. Coming up, we've got the one coach who's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Who is it, and what are they doing that's so brilliant? We'll get to that in a minute. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This is Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. There's one thing that the sports world just has totally wrong. Backwards. Guys are not seeing this the way it truly is. It's time to get to Machiavellian Maggie.
Machiavellian Maggie.
Now, this was inspired by Bill Belichick and Game of Thrones. But this was inspired by Bill Belichick, Perloff, and I have to go back to it because Belichick is doing something here that fans don't even understand. You would look at the Patriots and you would say, oh, this is a team with a 2-9 record. They just lost to the Giants yesterday. Like, this team sucks and Belichick doesn't know what he's doing and he needs to be ousted. No. Belichick is giving you a gift here. This is the final gift that Bill Belichick gives to the New England Patriots. 6 Super Bowls, and now is going to hand deliver the number 1 overall pick to this franchise. People think Bill Belichick doesn't care. He just wants to be his way, and it's all about him. and he doesn't want to give Brady credit or whatever. No. Belichick knows football history more than anyone. And when you do these suck for luck, tank for Tua, these things work. These things work. When the Colts suck for luck, it was awesome for them until he abruptly retired. Look at the Jags right now with Trevor Lawrence. That was an obvious tank job. Hell, look at Miami with Tua. You do these kinds of things, it pays out. You think Bill Belichick is just losing because he's incompetent. That's not right.
Yeah.
He's delivering the number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams to the Patriots fans. It's his last gift to them.
And then he leaves?
Well, he might leave. I don't know.
But last gift implies that he's not going to coach Cowboys.
Well, maybe he moves to a different part of the franchise. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but I know that after they lost to the Raiders, I think he was like, all right, this is it.
Yeah.
We can lose. Then they beat the Bills, totally unexpected. He's like, no, we got to try harder here. Lose to Washington, lose to Indy, lose to the Giants yesterday when they could have had a shot at the end zone from the 30 to 22-yard line, pardon me, with a minute left, and instead decides to kick a field goal. Kicker misses the field goal. He knew it all the time, playing for the tie and then losing it. He is trying to deliver Caleb Williams to the Pats.
Okay. This might be the worst read of Bill Belichick I've ever heard in my entire life. This is the exact opposite of anything that Bill Belichick has in his brain right now. You think that dude is new age enough to tank?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Bill Belichick, Mr. on to Cincinnati. Are you kidding me? He doesn't even understand the concept of tanking. First of all, he's proven to be a pretty incompetent GM anyway. GMs think like that. Coaches do not think like that, especially grumpy old school coaches. He has no idea what's happening here. Do you think he is intentionally losing to Caleb Williams? Do you think he wants to coach Caleb Williams? It was not his kind of player at all, by the way. This makes absolutely no sense.
No, this is the gift. So maybe he's not coaching Caleb Williams. Maybe he is moving on to Justin Herbert or something else after this season. This is like him, really the diehard loyalty to the Patriots. Bill Belichick, 6 Super Bowls and the number 1 overall pick. I mean, this Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Bermuda Triangle, like this is a toxic love triangle where nobody's going to get what they want here. He's just doing this to mess with everybody and deflect from the fact that they are intentionally losing here. And this is what he's going to give to the Patriots and their fans. It's amazing. It's selfless.
Yeah. I think the real drama is this just makes him look so much. Everything that happened with the Patriots is so watered down. His whatever his ranking on all-time coaches keeps going down and down and down while Tom Brady's a quarterback goes up and up and up. He's losing the real battle tremendously here, which is to prove that he was a genius all along and that Brady was along for the ride. Now it's the exact opposite. This could not go any worse. And to think that he's intentionally losing to bring Caleb Williams to New England. So who's coaching Caleb Williams?
Okay, but here's the thing. Belichick knows history. He knows that all these tanking efforts in the past have worked.
Who are the coaches that have tanked? Let's look at the list of guys. They're all terrible kind of, fly-by-night coaches that have no mark on history. The guys that Belichick looks up to, Paul Brown and Bill Parcells, those guys were not tanking. They won every year.
It's a new NFL. Can we hear Belichick ending his press conference abruptly yesterday?
Told everybody to be ready to go. I think we covered that. I think they both deserve to play. So
the plan was for both to eventually play.
I told everybody to be ready to go. Okay.
Good.
See?
Thank you.
Told the quarterbacks to be ready to go. Want to know why? Because it doesn't matter if Mac Jones is in there or Bailey Zappi. Same. Careening towards the number 1 pick. Just how do you get the Carolina Panthers out of there? That is the real question. But Belichick will find a way. You guys are thinking about this all wrong. Coming up, the best plays from yesterday. We get to it next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's been on the TB12 method since he was 6. She's on her third scotch. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, it's going to be more scotches if the Bills keep playing like that. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. If you maybe fell asleep or weren't watching last night's game, Ravens go on to win. They still have the number one seed right now if the playoffs were to start today in the AFC. Perloff, and the Chargers chargered again, which is they had the ball driving in the fourth quarter in a one-score game and ended up coming away with no points off of it, even though they went on like an 8-minute drive. And that's sort of where things stand. The Chargers have fallen off a lot. Ravens continue to ascend, and everything's sort of breaking right for teams at the top for the AFC, right? Especially for the Ravens, where you have no Joe Burrow anymore, no Deshaun Watson anymore. The Bills are now at 6-6. The playoffs are going to be very hard to make for the Bills. So you basically have Ravens, Chiefs, Jags, Steelers. I mean, these are, for the Ravens or for the Chiefs, this is setting up very nicely. These are beatable teams here in the AFC. Hell, you might have 3 AFC South teams get into the playoffs now.
With the I don't think that's going to happen because I think the Steelers will make it over those teams. But the thing with the Ravens is they have this really tough schedule. If they lose home field, then I'm so sorry. We're back to the same movie. 11-5, 12-4 Ravens team in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson running. It just hasn't worked. And I understand he's making an MVP statement this year, but you look at his passing totals, he's got these weapons, but they still only throw for about 180 yards a game. Are they really a different Ravens team? I'm not sure I see it.
Well, I thought yesterday, for all the fun we poke at the Chargers and how they end games, I mean, the defense for the Chargers did play very well yesterday, I thought. And that was a really tight game. I think the Ravens have actually just dealt with a lot of really good defenses is kind of what's going on. The Bengals earlier in the year, Cleveland, obviously, Pittsburgh. I think that the defenses have been stout, and I think you could definitely tell a difference with the Ravens. Lamar is definitely hanging in the pocket, and so that's a good win for them on the road.
But why is that good that he's hanging in the pocket? I thought he was going to get rid of the ball faster.
Well, because I think they just don't want him taking off and being outside of the pocket. Last night
he was outside the pocket all night last night. And most of his throws, I like it when he throws that quick pass to Zay Flowers and lets Zay Flowers do the work. He's still holding on to the ball. He's still kind of playing hero ball, whereas last night they were not going to lose. The Chargers were going to fumble that win away. I still think Lamar is holding on to it a little bit too long. And I just worry because I've backed the Ravens many times. And then they always get injured toward the end of the season. So show me that this is different.
Well, it does. To me, it does look different. I know that he passed, 5,000 rushing yards for his career last night, but he only had 40 yards rushing. These are not the 100-yard rushing games that Lamar used to have.
Right, because the Chargers were playing him to rush. He ran 11 times, got sacked a couple times by Khalil Mack, made a lot of plays on the run. I know that the Ravens just always an injury away. Ronnie Stanley last night left the game.
Yep.
He seems to be leaving the game a lot. I just worry about this team having something about them. They just seem to fall a little bit short around the postseason. And a lot of their skill guys are tiny guys. Yeah. If you hit Odell the wrong way, he's going to be out. So I like the Ravens right now as they're constituted. I just worry by the postseason, the same thing always happens to them.
So that was going on late last night. As for what's going on around here, a major controversy on the show today, and it involves the show bet that we made with the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. Now, I've been a Bills fan my whole life. Perloff wearing Eagles green today. You know where he stands on things. We had a show bet that whoever's team won, the other person would have to wear the other team's colors, sing their fight song, wear face paint, all that stuff. And yes, the Eagles won, but the spread was -3. The Eagles won 37-34. That's a difference of 3 points. We all are savvy enough to know what that means. It's a push. That means I will not be wearing any of the Eagles stuff because the bet is now null and void. It's moot.
Wow, it's so weird. I just all these years I thought you were actually a Buffalo Bills fan. Turns out you were just a cold analyst who was looking at the point spread and judging the Bills, because that's how this kind of thing works, I guess.
It's not that I'm being cold. it deserved to be handicapped yesterday. The Philadelphia Eagles have the best record in football. That game was on the road where the Bills were playing the Eagles and the referees in that game. And so, of course, they should get 3 points. That's just how it goes. I'm being called a sore loser. I'm being called every name in the book. Quite frankly, I don't care because I know I have a leg to stand on here and I have a great case, which is this bet was a push. Guys, sometimes all these bets just don't work out. Sometimes Perloff's putting his face in a bowl of Skyline chili and sometimes he's not.
I mean, you're celebrating a tie, Maggie. This is a new low. I'm sorry.
I'm not celebrating it. I am just stating the facts, simply. So there you go. 855-212.
How about before the game when you tried to convince me it should have been 4.5 points and you wanted an extra point and a half for the Bills?
Yes, I mean that was just my thought on the whole situation.
Yeah,
should have been 4.5. So we've got that. As for the rest of the NFL from yesterday, that's where we hit the hurry up. All right, EJ's going to give us the game. We'll give you our thoughts. 30 seconds on the clock for each game. Giddy up.
All right, so let's begin in Atlanta, where the Falcons beat up on the Saints 24-15. A pick six by my guy Jesse Bates helped seal the win.
So I'm upset with the Eagles because I watched Jesse Bates dominate this game against the Saints. Also created a fumble, punched it out of my guy Taysom Hill's hands. Single-handedly won this game, and Kyle Hamilton dominated for the Ravens. Where are our safeties? Jesse Bates is awesome.
Yeah, he was very good. Snaps a 3-game losing streak for Atlanta. Ritter back, but didn't look great through 2 interceptions in this game. But Bijan's still awesome. And my question for Atlanta, where do they go with quarterback here? Like, you've got all these skill position guys. I know, but where are they going to find this quarterback? I don't know.
The new age Pittsburgh Steelers offense helped lead them to 16 points, but it was enough to beat the Bengals 16-10 on the road.
Obvious that the new offensive coordinator, this feels different, even though there weren't a lot of points. 421 total yards of offense. The first time in 58 games the Steelers have topped 400 yards per off. This is a new day in Pittsburgh.
Okay, they beat the Bengals. You have to understand the Bengals could not hold on to the ball. Joe Mixon, without Joe Burrow at quarterback, Joe Mixon showed how bad he is. 8 carries, 16 yards. This was not a real contest. I wouldn't judge. I'm pro Steelers, but I wouldn't judge too much over beating this Cincinnati team.
Let's head to Tennessee, where it was a battle of 2 rookie quarterbacks, but it was 2 touchdowns from Derrick Henry that helped lead the Titans to a 17-10 win over the Panthers.
Why was this game happening? Why am I watching Will Levis versus Bryce Young? This is one of my picks this week, so I watch way too much of this game. Bryce Young should not be playing quarterback in the NFL right now. He has no right to be out there. They should play Andy Dalton. If they had any respect, honestly, fire Frank Reich. I don't care. He doesn't seem to have the slightest concept of where you're going here. And Will Levis is just okay.
So, reportedly, the owner of the Carolina Panthers threw a tantrum yesterday, was seen leaving the locker room with expletives, like muttering expletives. You only have yourself to blame, dude. Were you the one who wanted Bryce Young? You could have had C.J. Stroud, and you probably wouldn't have these problems.
C.J. Stroud wouldn't. Look at the receivers. Adam Thielen and DJ Chark or whoever, they have nobody. C.J. Stroud be bad.
Who are Stroud's receivers?
Tank Dell and Nico Collins are superstars compared to those guys.
All right, we get the point.
So we have going to Indy. It was a Baker Mayfield strip sack to help seal the win for the Colts. The Colts beating the Bucs 27-20.
How are the Colts in a playoff race right now? And not just really in the thick of a playoff race at 6-5. They're 2-4 at home. Yet somehow they keep coming out of the positive end of these things with a backup quarterback in Minshew who's been, not as bad. Jonathan Taylor was excellent yesterday.
This is a reverse of the 2022 Eagles and Cowboys. AFC South drew the NFC South and is stacking up wins because of that. The Eagles had the AFC South last year. This means nothing. I kind of like these plucky Colts, but come on, the Bucs are so bad.
Hey, sorry, one other thing. So they waive Shaq Leonard. Then he shows up in the suite and gets a standing ovation. Nothing is right when Jim Irsay is involved. Everything's weird when it comes to him as an owner.
Jim Irsay, grade A weirdo.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to MetLife, where the Giants beat the Pats in a riveting game, 10-7. You had 2 first-half picks from Mac Jones in this one.
Let's not. Do we really have to go here? It was bad enough to have to watch 30 seconds of that terrible game. One thing that shocks me, I just said to Maggie, Tommy DeVito can sling the rock. Why is that guy? Why was he so bad in college? Why was he not drafted? He looks 20 times better than Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. I don't understand why he was never good up until this point.
Yeah, I'll give you the Paisan, fingers.
Yeah, he's a character. He's great.
He's got the touchdown celebration, everything for the one touchdown they had yesterday. This is a terrible win for the Giants. Yes, I said it. Terrible win. You still don't have a long-term answer at quarterback. You took yourself out of the Caleb Williams.
They were already out, though. Now they might as well go for it. Show some respectability.
At 3 wins, you might have still been in it.
It's
now they have 4 wins.
You mentioned the Panthers. The Panthers have no interest in winning 3 games.
All right, the number 1 p.m. game of the afternoon, you had Jaguars going into Houston, beating the Texans 27-24 off of a missed 58-yard field goal from Matt Amendola.
Yeah, there's no reason he should have been attempting a 58-yard field goal when he's the backup kicker, and you have C.J. Stroud, who's likely going to be Rookie of the Year, and give him a chance to complete, what was it, a 4th and 13? That's not 4th and 23. I would still have gone with Stroud there. Listen, rookie mistakes by the coaching staff and actually by Stroud on that final drive, taking a couple bad sacks. But Houston's still in the playoff race, and the Jags, I'm not that convinced, but they're going to win this division. Sorry. I took up all the time.
100% officiating. That game was defined by the officials, ruined by the officials, calls they did make and didn't make. Even Houston fans were rather mild. Were about to storm the field. Terrible, terrible game.
Let's go to the 4 p.m. slate where you had the Los Angeles Rams beating the Cardinals 37-14 on the back of 4 touchdowns from Matthew Stafford.
So I think the Cardinals are bad enough to tank even with Kyler Murray at quarterback. The Rams own the Cardinals. I saw a stat before. Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, they've never lost to this team. I think that the Cardinals committed throughout their whole roster to ending the season with 2 wins, get right back in that quarterback mix.
I mean, the Rams I can't figure out.
No.
What are we doing here? I love Kyron Williams, and you love to see Stafford with the 4 touchdowns, but what's the plan here? I guess make the playoffs and try to be disruptive? I don't get it. What's the long-term goal?
Is there any interest in the Rams at all anywhere? Does anyone care about either LA team, even the slightest bit?
Maybe the Rams more than the Chargers.
They're 5-6.
I know.
Let's head to Vegas, where the Chiefs had to overcome a 14-0 deficit to come back and beat the Las Vegas Raiders 31-17.
Yeah, this was probably a positive sign for the Chiefs because they actually scored in the second half of the game. So they scored 17 second-half points, held the Raiders to only 3 second-half points, and everything's just breaking right for the Chiefs this year.
I like when they center the offense around Isaiah Pacheco. I think that's an interesting formula. Just go Pacheco, win with defense. It's a different Chiefs team, but I think they can be really good.
All right, beat the time there. Let's go to Denver, where the Broncos forced 3 turnovers in their victory over the Browns, 29-12.
The best thing I can say about this game was it was sun setting on the game, and it was orange uniform against orange uniform. It was beautiful. The actual quality of football was so subpar, it hurt my eyes to watch this game.
Oh, my gosh. Give the Broncos their due. 5 wins in a row.
For what?
They're the hottest team in the NFL. Russ is not having to do everything, but he's also hasn't thrown a pick or had turnovers, or at least hasn't thrown an interception, I should say. This formula between Russ and Sean Payton, this thing might work.
What? Yeah, when you're playing Dorian Thompson-Robinson, it's going to work. Do you know how many yards the Broncos had yesterday? 294 total yards. That's for both passing and rushing, not one or the other. They don't do anything.
All right, in the Maggie and Perloff Bowl, we had the Eagles beating the Bills 37-34. Hurts combined for 5 TDs in this one, including the walk-off winner in overtime.
Yeah, just amazing for the Eagles that they find a way to win these games in the second half, overcoming double-digit deficits in the last 4 games. But, brutal for my Bills. Josh Allen played an excellent game outside of the 1 turnover in the second half, but he was fantastic. I love that type of Josh Allen game, and the defense is so hurt they just cannot be asked to win games right now.
Amazing win. Great kick by Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
A lot of problems out of this game. This was not a time you want to play 69 minutes of football. Niners coming to town next week. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter played more snaps than they played all year long. A lot of injuries. The Eagles coming out of this win a little hobbling. A little worried for the Niners. Spread going up fast. I tried to jump in at 1.5. It's already up to 2.5.
And then you had the Sunday nightcap where the Ravens defense flexed their muscles, forcing 4 turnovers, including 3 forced fumbles in a win at SoFi Stadium over the Chargers, 20-10.
Honestly, sorry, go ahead.
Are we done with the Chargers? I mean, Keenan Allen,
so.
their best player by far, can't even hold on to the ball. Austin Eckler, their second best player, can't hold on to the ball. This is just pathetic.
Yeah, they needed new everything. They need a new general manager. They need a new coach. I mean, it's funny because wasn't Keenan Allen like 14 for 14 on receptions, but did have that fumble, which was a bummer. And you have 4 turnovers. You should probably lose by way more than what they lost by. Their defense played pretty well.
I thought the Ravens just let them hang around. I think the Ravens got really conservative on offense. I didn't think that the Ravens were ever going to lose that game.
No.
Brandon Staley, EJ, I remember a couple weeks ago when I tried to defend Brandon Staley.
Oh, I remember.
No more. Kill the tape of that. I was an idiot. That guy should not speak to anybody anymore.
Every time he opens his mouth, it just makes me feel like anybody could be an NFL head coach. It is wild.
Like where they found him somewhere.
Yeah, like he was just on the side of the road, and he was like, hey, I think I can call some plays. And they were like, you know what? Come on down.
I think he knows Sean McVay. That's enough to get you hired.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you know Sean McVay, you don't even have to have played football or coached it before.
You don't even have to coach offense. He's a defensive coach. And they were like, you know Sean McVay? Yo, you don't know anything about offense? It doesn't matter. Come on.
I think he was a quarterback in college. That's one thing, the only advantage he has.
Yeah, I mean, at the professional level, it's kind of like, that's like the bar's kind of low. Anyway, yeah, I think for the Chargers, it's probably over. And I think for the Ravens, I mean, you're on the road. It's a 1-score game. It's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. Find a way to win. Zay Flowers is awesome. They've addressed some of these needs that they had at wide receiver. You got 1 good catch from Aguilar, 1 drop from Aguilar. That's how it's going to go.
I think it's a stretch to read anything into the Ravens off of that game. I think the Ravens now, it's Super Bowl or bust. That's the only expectation for the team. And that's a credit to them.
Yeah.
And they have some real tests coming up. Last night was not one of them.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. See you guys. We'll get on to the phones in a moment. And our big question that's coming off of the Ohio State-Michigan game, the one looming, lingering thought here that we'll get to in just a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. I'm sorry I'm laughing. I had an issue this weekend.
What was
I
that?
forgot to tell you about this.
This is Thanksgiving related?
No, it's car related.
Okay.
And tell me if I'm being a wimp here.
Okay.
I had to get a recall for a Honda Accord 2018 hybrid, the Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
Had to get
She's a beaut.
seatbelt replaced, which is kind of terrifying. They said the seatbelts are not catching. Anyway,
Oh, God.
got to replace. Got back in my car to drive out of town on Saturday, and the seat is about 4 inches lower than where it used to be. So I'm in the driver's seat looking up at my wife to the right of me, and it's completely uncomfortable. They took out the driver's seat and reinstalled it, I think, wrong.
So you're like low rider.
I'm low rider. I'm down against the ground, and I'm tilted back, and I didn't have time to go back to the dealer to fix it. So I got it changed at a dealer in Philadelphia. So my car is all screwed up now. Do you think I should know how to fix it? Is this something that...
Take out a seat and put it back in? No.
Or is there an adjustment here? Should I send it back? Can I go to a dealership saying I don't like the way the seat feels? What am I supposed to do here?
Well, do you have the buttons on the side? You can like move it up and move it forward?
This is not fancy enough to have those kind of buttons. No,
Do you have a crank?
It's all manual. The seat moves back and forth manually.
You can't move it. You can't move the seat up or down?
I can't. I tried for a half an hour. I tried every button and lever in the whole damn car.
So it just looks like you're like just cruising?
Yeah, I'll show you. My car's right outside. It looks so funny. I'm 6'4" and I'm looking up at the steering
Like you're
wheel
an old grandma?
driving. I look like I'm 100 years old driving this thing. I can barely see over it. I'm just worried. I hate going to a dealer because I'll sound like an idiot. Because I'm sure I'll bring it to a garage and they'll adjust one thing and saying you should have known how to do this.
Yeah, and be like, that's $500.
Does anyone here know cars? Can anyone come out to the show after the show and look at my car with me?
Do you think I'd be able to know how to do that? No shot.
No, I wasn't asking you. I was hoping Bilotti knew something about
We
cars.
found out last week.
No, I'll go back to the dealer that you usually go to.
Well, this was in Philadelphia. It's a different city, though.
But go to the original dealer now still.
We found out last week that EJ didn't have a license, or that doesn't have a license. Didn't have a license
why would
until
I ask
very
EJ?
recently.
EJ doesn't even drive.
He has no idea.
How about Andrew Bogus? Are you good with cars?
I'd sell the car. Start new. Start fresh.
He's like, I don't know, something's wrong with the seat. We better take it
Get
to
a new one.
impound.
Heard of the train.
You know what? I can't go back to deal. I can go to AutoZone because I notice in these reads, and I've had this before, they'll come out of the store and help you with the car, and they are really good at this. Okay, solve.
There we go. Let's hit the phones before we get to Bogish and his headlines. 855-212-4CBS. Our pal Big Dave's in Kentucky. Dave, happy Thanksgiving, man. How are you?
It's a L's down day in the bluegrass.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, there ain't nothing makes a disappointing University of Kentucky football season better, like whipping that Cardinal ass when they think there's somebody.
You know, you said, Dave, that it was the best rivalry in college football, and we laughed, but that was a hell of a game.
It was a great game, and you know the thing about it is, the disappointing thing about it is I mean, it's UK football. I don't expect you guys to watch every game and analyze it, but so many of the games that we've lost, if we would have done what we done Saturday, 0 penalties, we only had 1 turnover. I mean, Devin Leary had to. I mean, he had to throw that turkey up in the fourth quarter and try to give it away. But that was the only turnover we had.
Dave, you should clarify that you're talking about football because people are going to hear Kentucky Louisville assume you're talking basketball.
Yeah. Also, congrats because Mark Stoops is staying. He is not taking the A&M job.
Yeah. First of all, McLovin, if anybody's watched the University of Louisville play basketball in the last 2 years, they wouldn't have considered any conversation.
It's going off reputation. Really.
I was worried when I said that. I'm like, I don't really know much about where Louisville is basketball-wise. Okay.
They're
a couple
awful,
scandals.
Man. They are gods. They're so bad that even we feel sorry for them as UK fans.
Oh, boy. Now you know things are bad.
It's really bad. But listen, how about those Eagles, man? Listen, Jalen Hurts.
I know.
He's the man. I mean, I hate to say it, man, but I've got so much respect for him. That's the coolest cat in the NFL. I mean, that dude, you couldn't rattle him with a hand grenade.
Dave, convince Perloff because I've been telling him, like, Jalen Hurts had an MVP moment yesterday running that touchdown in an overtime. He's like, he's not the MVP. I'm like, I think he is. I think he's going to get it.
I'm sitting there watching that game, and at no point did the thought ever cross my mind that the Eagles were not going to win that game. I mean, seriously, yeah, I agree. Dak is probably playing as well or better right now, but if I had to, but Jalen Hurts would have my MVP vote.
Dave, we should do a bet. Eagles versus Cowboys. I think I'll get 3 points with the Eagles.
The spread matters.
Eagles will be a 3 or 4 point dog in Dallas. What do you say?
What are we betting?
What's that?
What are we betting?
What are we betting?
Well, let's see. I feel with you, it's got to be whiskey or something. Something manly.
Something manly, yeah.
Someone
has to spend the night in the jail.
That.
We can work on something.
Really, like a nice set of gold-plated handcuffs or something. Is that what you got?
Perloff's got a couple pairs at home. Dave, thank you.
I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. I think we're going to. I feel good about that game, man. I do. I feel good about that game. It's when we meet again in the playoffs that I don't feel so great about.
Dave, we'll think about this. Got a bet between Perloff and Big Dave.
Golden handcuffs is not what I thought.
That sounds like something on the menu at the Bunny Ranch.
And the fact that we all immediately, our minds all went there says a lot about the Maggie and Perloff show. Golden handcuffs, everyone all of a sudden, Bogus is like, whoa, hello.
This took a turn. All right.
Everyone just sat up a little straighter in their chair. Tony is in Kimberley, British Columbia. Tony.
Hey, guys.
Good morning.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you making the call.
So my question is, Maggie, if you won by 3 points, would you expect Perloff to honor the bet, or would you just say, hey, Perloff, it's a push. No worries.
Yes. Tony, I'm glad you mentioned that because we did talk about the spread. People think that I'm pulling this out of my you-know-what. We talked about the spread before the bet. So, yes, if it had been if it had been a push on Perloff's side, well, it is a push on Perloff's side. He doesn't have to do anything. But if it had been his team who lost, but they pushed, I would have said bet's null and void because we talked about the spread.
Perloff, would you do it anyway?
Would I wear Bills gear, which was the stakes if the Eagles lost? Yes. Yes, I would. Because
Perloff just wants to wear my Zubaz.
I really want to wear Maggie's Zubaz. Don't you, Tony? Zubaz are awesome. Wouldn't you want to wear them?
I would honestly, Perloff, I'd have to wear Bills gear over Philadelphia gear, considering I grew up in Toronto, Ontario. So, Buffalo's just down the street. So, but I am a Giants fan by heart, unfortunately. So, go DeVito, yay.
You really sold that, Tony. Go DeVito, yay. I think Perloff just wants to wear my Zubaz pants. You're lucky that I bought them.
Yeah, I'm wearing those anyway.
I bought them in a size that would kind of fit you.
Remember at Zubaz, you could get them for every team. About 15 years ago, they had their moment.
I think you still can.
Yeah.
And 15's being generous.
I feel like
30.
The Bills are holding on to them a little harder than most teams.
That's most things.
I actually... Yeah.
We hang on to a lot, like the 90s. Let's get to Bogish, who has headlines. Good morning.
Good morning. One last time today. The Bills not only dealing with another loss, but they also have some splaining to do after a sideline confrontation between defensive end Shaq Lawson and a fan. Video on social media shows Lawson, Jordan Phillips, and a few of their teammates leaving the bench to confront this fan who's talking smack from the first row of seats. Phillips gets there first, gets in the person's face. That's when Lawson seems to shove this guy. The players then left. Security showed up. The team has not issued any kind of statement yet.
They're just really hoping this one goes away. Going to the bye week, I'm just
knows that we lost again last night. You want to focus?
I'm just going to go out of state for a couple days.
37-34, the loss in OT in Philly yesterday. Josh Allen, though, still blindly believes in his team.
I'm extremely confident in our guys and the men that we have in this locker room. And we understand where we're at. So we gotta get things going.
Almost sounds believable.
Yeah, that was as convincing as Tony in Vancouver. Like, hooray, yay. Tommy DeVito.
No, we were betting with the spread. His team is now 6-6,
Hey.
good for 10th in the AFC. Allen threw for 2 scores, ran for 2 more in this one, but Jalen Hurts had 3 and 2, including the game-ending 12-yard run. His Eagles keep their 2-game lead on the Niners for number 1 in the NFC. The Ravens still atop the AFC, or now atop, I should say, after a 2010 win at the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. John Harbaugh's squad has one more win than KC, Jacksonville, and Miami.
I thought the fourth quarter was a statement. And put an exclamation point in the fourth quarter. Defense getting the stops and offense finishing it at the end there.
A late stop in particular on 4th down, which led to Zay Flowers scoring from 37 yards out on the ground for the exclamation point. Monday Night Football has the Vikings and the Bears. Kevin O'Connell trying to keep his mini team at 6-5 in a playoff spot.
The energy, the juice, we know it'll be there. Monday Night Football division opponent that's playing pretty well right now. So it's going to be a heck of a challenge, but very, very important that the rest of the way here, every single week is going to feel like this one feels, which is an important game for where we hope to get to.
His team again 6-5. That's good enough for 6th in the NFC. So they're in at the moment. Justin Jefferson and his hamstring injury likely to miss another game. Let me go back to something we discussed way back in hour number 1. Indiana football firing Tom Allen yesterday. He'll get $15.5 million to leave after a 9-26 record over the last 3 seasons. One report connects John Gruden to this job. He does apparently have some interest in it, and his dad did coach at Indiana under Lee Corso. But right now, this is being driven, it appears, by some fancy boosters who want a big-name guy to come in and fix the Hoosiers.
Yeah, including John Gruden's agent.
Is he also an Indiana booster? Listen.
This normally doesn't work, going from NFL to college or vice versa. They're
you know what else doesn't work?
Different jobs.
Indiana football is another thing
as
that
a whole
usually does not work. I mean, Tom Allen was supposed to be he was supposed to be the savior. I mean, Penix was good for that little brief, that 1 year, but this is a tough job. I would not want this job.
Well, but John Gruden wants any job.
Yeah, he needs to get back into the game.
Totally. Like, he's consulting now for the Saints, but I don't think that he's going to be hireable in the NFL, which is kind of sad that if you're not hireable in the NFL because of racist, homophobic emails that you were sending that got leaked out, that somehow college would be like, you're our savior. That's not great.
It kind of makes sense, though. College is ethically quite challenged in the coaching department.
I know, because it's not owners, right? I don't know why that it's more permissive in college, because people are rabid, I guess.
I would say it's a sport based on a lie, not paying the players. So once you lie about that, you're lying about everything. It's just an ethically corrupt sport. That's my opinion, my 2 cents.
He is technically hireable in the NFL, right? He has no ban or reinstatement.
I mean, he's suing the NFL right now, so I don't know what that
like a show cause?
Yeah, he didn't get they didn't make him ineligible for jobs while this is all going as part of the punishment, right?
I don't think so.
No, not that I'm aware of.
And he is suing the NFL, but so is Brian Flores, and he's the defensive coordinator for the Vikings.
And might be a head coach in a couple of months.
And might be another coach again.
Definitely.
Elsewhere on the coaching front, Texas A&M reportedly hiring Duke's Mike Elko to replace Jimbo Fisher. Elko was the Aggies' D coordinator before one of those Blue Devils, and Mississippi State is going with Oklahoma OC Jeff Lebby for its top job. It is now a 12-game losing streak for the Spurs, 132-120 losers in Denver last night, but Victor Wembanyama did have 22 points, 11 rebounds, 6 steals, and 4 blocks in just 24 minutes. He is the first rookie with that combo of stats since blocks and steals became official stats back in 1973.
It's like a scoregami for
speaking
stats.
of scoregami, Broncos 29-12 was one.
Oh, no.
We seem to get them too often for it to be like this rare, fun occurrence anymore.
I think someone's just lazy and not looking through old scores, because how these can all be scoregamis doesn't make any sense.
They just like control F on every game ever.
Do you guys see what Bogus is doing with the Wembanyama highlight?
I mean, showing how great he is.
Yeah.
How about the fact that Chet Holmgren has 2 30-point games that Bogus has completely ignored, trying to...
They didn't happen yesterday.
This is the most recent stuff.
Yeah.
It happened 2 days. I mean, Chet Holmgren's on fire, and the team is playing well. The Wembanyama scoring 18 points a game for the worst team in the NBA.
I mean, let's be real. Is the story about the Oklahoma City Thunder right now Chet Holmgren?
Oh, absolutely.
No, it's definitely about Josh Giddey.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the positive story.
Yes,
that's why I said that.
Okay, but here's the other part of this, and this is why. Because the Chet Holmgren being a rookie is fugazi. Like, he was in the NBA last year. I know he was hurt. I didn't like it when Ben Simmons got to do this and Joel Embiid. You can't reclassify as a rookie. This is not college.
Yes, you can.
You're in the NBA.
You technically can.
Yeah, but you get like the NBA lifestyle, you get the NBA training facilities, you get the NBA nutrition, you get all the NBA psychologists, you get all the benefits of being in the NBA, even if you're not on the floor. But you're no longer a rookie. You're doing all the travel. You're getting a taste, a feel.
I actually don't know if he traveled last year.
You might not travel, but you know what I'm saying.
Wembanyama is 7'5".
Correct.
Dude shooting 43% from the field. What does that say to you? This is not ideal. This is not...
It's all from 3, though.
Well, he's 27% from 3. He's a bad shooter at 7'5". 7'5", you should be dunking on everyone's head. Yeah, 43% is bad, EJ.
Well, he
and he's 27% from 3.
Shots.
Yeah, that's bad.
Right, but he's still a great player. Because it's 43%? I mean, you're comparing him to other bigs who typically play around the basket. He's clearly a much different player. Also, we got to talk about the fact that the Spurs don't have any help around him.
Yeah.
Chet is playing with arguably the best point guard / shooting guard in the NBA. And
But isn't that a problem that your 7'5" guy is floating around the perimeter and neutralizing his advantage?
But the point guard's as a power forward.
Right. They're playing Jeremy Sohan at point guard.
He should be, and I hate to be like an old school coach, he should be posting up guys who he has a foot advantage on. He's got a 6'5" guy over him. He's giving him every advantage by not using his height.
Who's going to give him the ball? They have nobody to deliver the basketball. Like,
he's 7'5". How hard is it to throw into a post to a 7'5" guy?
Oh, my God. Have you seen these Spurs guards play? You try to score with Jeremy Sohan one of your
you're
offense.
making a lot of excuses.
Meanwhile, the reason why we're so into this Wembanyama versus Holmgren is because it's another show bet where if Wembanyama wins Rookie of the Year, Perloff has to drive to San Antonio and apologize to him in French.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just Holmgren. Let's not forget my guy, Oscar Thompson, too, who's making a run.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of competition here.
He got dropped by Tyrese Halliburton the other night. He was the low light of the night in the NBA on Friday.
Perloff can't tell the difference between one Thompson twin and the other.
If you combine it, no, he's the good one, right? Oster's the one who's having a great year.
He's having a good year.
Yeah, and what's the guy in Charlotte? My guy Brandon Miller is showing some. There's a lot of guys, a lot of season left.
And guess who's leading all rookies in scoring?
Chet Holmgren.
No, Victor Wembanyama.
By how many points?
By a point. He's leading him in points.
How many wins has he gotten in the last 14 games?
Oh my God!
Jay?
You cannot. Wins is not a rookie of the year stat.
Exactly.
Nobody's watching him.
About?
I watched him play the other day, and I was like, "Oh my God, this guy's completely non-effective. He doesn't even care. He's lackadaisical. He's not involved in the play on a play-to-play basis. He's good in the fourth quarter, which is weird, but he's definitely not.
Oh, it's not good. It's
but
weird.
he's definitely,
only when it's winning. Josh.
He's definitely not assertive
What
enough.
a weird skill that is.
I mean, there's a reason.
I prefer
he's
my
not
guys
winning.
also in the first quarter.
It's just
you know that Michael
clutch
Jordan guy,
stats.
all those clutch shots, kind of
You
weird.
guys, when you guys watch the Spurs, honestly, you're like, oh my God, this guy's unstoppable. No way. That's just not
No,
possible.
I still go,
to see
he's
it
the
that way.
rookie of the year when I watch him.
We'll see.
You
Your
should have
best
to
hope
drive
is
with a
they-
broken seat, too.
Perloff with the seat underneath. Meanwhile, Bogus, sorry, hang tight. Josh is in Tucson. He does have thoughts on Perloff's car trouble. Right now, Perloff's seat is lowered, you said, and you can't see above the
Yeah, I got it
dashboard.
fixed, and basically, I'm like a low rider, except the rest of the car is not a low rider.
Josh, what do you have for us?
So, if you find the little switch that will lean your seat front and back, there's a lever in front of it that's long, and you think of it like a floor jack. You have to pump it. If you pull up, repeatedly, it will kind of pump your seat up about an inch at a time, and pushing it down will lower it about an inch at a time once you get to the top.
Yeah, you got to pump. Thank you, Josh. I know exactly what you're talking about. Thank you for calling.
I tried that. I couldn't find that. I know the pump. I've used it before. I used it actually on my desk chair right here in the office.
Yeah, it's like a crank.
I couldn't find the pump on this car. I'm not sure it's there. I think they screwed up. I really do. I think they screwed
backwards.
it. I think they screwed because they took out the whole seat and screwed it back in. I think they screwed it in wrong. The angle is funny too. Everything about it feels wrong. Super dangerous too, by the way.
Can't you just go to another dealer here?
Well, the reason I went to Philadelphia is because I live in the city and there are no Honda dealerships here. The nearest one's an hour away. It's tough being Perloff. You guys think it's
Long
easy?
Island. I know where there's a Honda dealer.
Oh yeah, there's no traffic between me and Long Island.
Not at
Bogus.
this time. You could do it. Walk out here at 10 a.m.
By the way, I drove in this morning, 4:55. I saw Andrew Bogus walking on the street. We both had trouble finding parking and had to park way away. I could tell.
No, I was coming from the train.
Oh, you're coming from the train?
Yeah.
You don't drive it?
No. Driving out of here is like hell.
That's
so no
because
thanks.
no one really chooses to go to Long Island in their off hours.
It doesn't matter if I was going to the first steps of Queens. Leaving Manhattan is terrible.
Hey, you leave here at 10:30. You'll be home, 2 o'clock.
855-212. He meant
It's all
AM.
day.
Yeah.
855-212-4227. Bogus, thank you so much. Appreciate that. It looks like I'm not the only person trying to wiggle out of a bet here. Perloff's clearly laying the groundwork on this Wembanyama
Just
thing.
watch the Spurs. The whole team stinks, and Wembanyama is catching some of that stink.
We will have the latest, again, Ohio State and Michigan. We've got that for you. The one thing no one's talking about when it comes to the outcome of this game, which was a Michigan win. We'll get to that in a minute. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. Got some breaking news for you from the NFL. Literally just happened in our commercial break. Carolina Panthers have fired head coach Frank Reich, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. This was a team that's 1-10, so Frank Reich doesn't even last a full season, Perloff, as the head coach of the Panthers. And this thing looks bad every which way.
Yeah, I don't even think...
They're doing him a favor.
No, I don't think so. I think this is on Frank Reich because the way Bryce Young has been playing, it's like he doesn't have a coach. Like he has no idea what he's doing there. He obviously can make some throws and make some plays, but their offense lacks so much urgency. This is just the offense. The defense has done fine, I think, but he's screwed this quarterback situation up so badly. I don't even know why Bryce Young is out there. Doesn't make any sense. And their run game, as bad as their quarterback play has been, their run game is even worse.
Well, that's because
the worst design run game I've ever seen.
Well, the offensive line is terrible. I think the general manager also has to be a party of this too. They are 30th in yards. You're right. They are 20th in the NFL in first downs. They're 28th in passing yards. They are 29th in rushing yards. They're 31st in rushing touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, just bad. Their starting field position is the worst in the NFL. I mean, they're just bad all the way around. I think you're doing Frank Reich a favor because, it didn't seem like, there were reports that, perhaps he favored C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young. So maybe this marriage was always going to be a little bit fraught. And it sounds like this owner is not exactly a picnic to work for. And don't forget, in the pre-draft process, it was the owner, the owner's wife. Everybody was traveling around from pro day to pro day. I think the owner is frustrated and wants to win, but he's too involved, right? He's like, I think he's micromanaging this in a way that's not going to be promising.
I think this is it for Frank Reich. I think whoever comes in is going to have more success immediately. They'll get a little interim bump because it can't be worse. I mean, you're bumping from the bottom of the ground. I mean, the Panthers are lower than my driver's side car seat. They are so low. Callback. They can't be any worse on offense. So the next coach has to do better.
Well, here's a question: was Frank Reich empowered to say Bryce Young, you're sitting and Andy Dalton's playing? Like, they don't have the first overall pick, which they're likely going to be in line to get because that goes to Chicago. So in a year, you're 1-10 right now. The number 1 overall pick is going to go to the Bears. But do you think that Wright could have actually said, hey, we're playing Andy Dalton right now? I don't even know if it would have mattered.
You're right. I don't know if he could have done that. But that being said, listen, the Panthers have Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta coming up. Their next 3. They're all on the road. Well, actually, 2 of them are on the road. But the NFC South, they have no reason to tank. So they should be putting out full effort those last couple weeks. I think they make Frank Reich look worse by winning a game or 2 here because they have a decent defense, Maggie.
It looks like the special teams coordinator is going to be taking over. Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots! He scores!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. Today's shot of the day, a little snapshot of the show, is, I may have lost a bet to Perloff. That's still under protest. And I was upset about the Eagles beating my Buffalo Bills, and I took it out on Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper can shove it. He's only been good in 2 movies, and one of them he wasn't even the lead.
Bradley Cooper?
He was good in Wedding Crashers, and he was good in Hangover. And that's it. Everything else has sucked. Silver Linings Playbook sucked.
Mind.
The other one he did sucked. They all suck.
American Sniper, amazing.
Guardians of the Galaxy. That one.
3
I didn't
times.
Watch that.
Amazing. Great
He's not
voice
even
acting.
on screen. He's just a voice.
Voice acting is amazing. What are you talking about?
That's for voice actors. No. Get Bradley Cooper off my screen. You hack.
Wait, so you're not a Bradley Cooper fan? This is amazing to me. I don't even care about the football anymore. He's on such a roll. He's going to win the Oscar this year for Maestro. I feel like there is not a hotter actor in the world.
There's some movies I like that he's in. There's some I don't like. But I do stand behind this. Go sit in the rain with the fans. Every time you're in the owner's box, in the suite, it's pouring rain yesterday. You're a true Eagles fan. Go sit in the front row. How about that? Go put a poncho on and go sit out there in the rain with everyone else. Meanwhile, we go back to the breaking news, which is Frank Reich was fired. So it's the second time that Frank Reich has been fired in season. He was fired by the Colts in season. You got a little sense that things were going poorly when he said this about his interactions with the owners a couple weeks ago.
It hasn't been fun. It's not fun. Those meetings aren't, I wouldn't characterize them as fun meetings. But those meetings make me better, and I trust they make us better.
Yeah, I mean, writing's been on the wall here, right, for a little bit. It's just whether or not they were going to do it in season.
Now there's a next step going on here on social media. Will Nick Sirianni bring back his former head coach to help run the Eagles' somewhat stagnant offense? So there's a rumor out there that the Eagles are going to rehire Frank Reich already.
Interesting. That's one part. I did say special teams coordinator. His name, Chris Tabor, will serve as the interim head coach, and you have Jim Caldwell is now going to be a special advisor to the offense. Wow. Okay, so the career of Bryce Young now is going to get a new voice. Thank you, DJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Bellotti. Thank you to Andrew Bogusch and Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos, the coffee drinkers, the callers. Wow, lots to do. We'll see you tomorrow. Yep.
You're in a 5-minute break.